It's time for Type 40 Live, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show for your weekend across Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook, doggedly covering all things Doctor Who. From way back then in the black and white days to the right here and the right now, all in front of a live chat full of fellow friends, fans, and companions just like you. And it's been hovering, dangling, really, for weeks now. It's time for the plop to drop. Could the wokest show on British TV get any more woker? All we can do is look on if we dare. Oh God, what's all this that we hear now? Dancing? Sea devils? Surely not. How much more damage could they do in 45 minutes? Let's put the paper down while we can. Yeah, I'm feeling proper evil this week. So we're in the Masters TARDIS. No, let's own it. That's what I say. Own it. Yes, I am Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, master of disaster this time. And we'll find out who you are in a moment or two. Back again. God, it only seemed 5 minutes since we were last here. Hello, everybody on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. We'll get to your comments in a little while. We've got some people to bring in as well, some game Doctor Who fans who are clearly in it to the bitter end, just like me, to fill up this TARDIS and try to work out where they got all the bits and pieces for this one. If you can squint and make it out. Okay, yes, so thanks for joining us yet again. What a show the other night. All those rumours, my head is still sort of buzzing from that. We've got some more to pick up on as well. An abundance of absolute nonsense, and the episode hasn't even dropped yet. Okay, let's waste no time in filling up the console room. Who have we got first? I am happy to say that we have a real life time traveller. No less, none of these fakes who swagger around in skirts and kind of thing. We've got a real one, and yeah, although we can't see him from the waist down, I think it's unlikely that Matt Pot is skirted.
No. I'd never ever wear a skirt ever. God, I wouldn't look good in a skirt. Jeez, I wouldn't even think about it, to be honest.
You haven't got any Highland blood in you?
No, we're not Scottish. I think I've got Irish, but we won't talk about that.
Hello, Matt. Good to see you, mate. So, well, good morning, I should say. It's Friday morning for you.
Yeah, very, very early in the morning, but I'm fine. I'm awake. I'm alert.
In fine voice and very game as well, considering where we are. We're going to baffle you later on with still more rumours and quotes from the great and the good and David Tennant, funnily enough. But don't let that put you off. We've got a lot we can talk about and speculate about as well as it goes on. So how have you been this week? Good?
Yeah, I've been good. Yeah. Very cold here in Tassie, so it's yeah, I've just been getting been a bit worried. It's nearly flu season, so I've got to make sure I have my shots. And I think I'd rather have my shots than watch this episode coming up. So
get your jabs in, yeah.
They can put them in my eyeballs if they like. I don't care.
This TARDIS is not going to warm you up. I tell you what, there's no way the Master is going to be the kind of host who puts the heating on for his guests, is he? It's going to be like...
at least they put a little bit of work into that TARDIS, and that would be Delgado's, isn't it? Is
yes.
Delgado's? Yeah.
Yeah, late Delgado, because it's got the pudding bowl motif for the wall, which means, yeah, so that would have been probably his last season, maybe even his last appearance. I don't know. I think we need someone who is an authority on all things classic, a mind like an encyclopedia, and yeah, it's so how can I put it? So full. So burning with facts is it that he has to hide it quite often under a cap, and it just so happens that this time it's on brand as well. Welcome back, Gary Akers.
That's right. I wasn't sure for a second what you were going to say there.
Yeah,
hello everybody.
It clean. It's before the watershed in Britain.
Good to see you. You know what? I don't think Matt's wearing a skirt, but I think if he stood up, I think we might see a kilt. No? Okay.
No,
absolutely.
I am actually wearing shorts.
No, I've been doing good. I've been intensely training all week for Saturday's episode by sticking toothpicks in my eye to toughen them up.
I like the strategy, my friend.
I think I'm going to end up enjoying that more than what we're going to see.
I do love the hat. I mean, I wasn't trying to dabbing
thank
faint praise there. You have got a mind like an encyclopedia when it comes to particularly classic Doctor Who.
I appreciate that. Sometimes I think I'm missing a few volumes, but no, I appreciate that.
Missing a few volumes, and they do look like, are they solar panels, the two windows on your cap there? Is that some way of, do they power your headphones or something?
That is the window into my brain if I were to swing them open, but I think the light would overpower you all, so I'm going to leave them closed.
We have more people to bring on, I'm happy to say. Next up, so yes, he's been a regular on our Monday shows for a little while. He's become a sort of resident statistician, really. And this time, yes, he's come armed with even more facts and no doubt the dad jokes that even I won't crack. Welcome back, Mr. David Milling.
Hello! Yes. What did the penguin get from the genie in the lamp, Matt?
No idea.
3 fishes. There you go. That.
I don't get that either. Yeah.
Yes, I have very good takeaway, but I hope you're all lovely as well. I have single-handedly bought up the whole of Lincolnshire's stock of Maltesers to throw at the television on Saturday at my disgust. Charlotte actually told me by message that if I went to, she asked me if I had a B&M in Lincoln. I have 2. And because they have the really big boxes of Maltesers, and I'm going to spend my time just throwing Maltesers at the telly.
Ammunition, that is. Ammunition, yes. And we've mentioned her a couple of times, and I'm happy to say that completing our panel on this edition of the show, here she is, the one, the only, always our queen. And she's sniggering at me now, wondering what on earth I'm going to say and where this is going to go. But I'm just happy to have her back. Welcome back, Charlotte.
With you, it could go anywhere, Dan. That's why. I've now got lots of experience. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Charlotte. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. How have you been the last couple of days? You all right?
To be fair, I've been in my happy place because I've been listening to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang because I found out they're doing a remake of it this week online, so I had to listen to the original songs because I adore
the
that
movie or on the stage, because you are a bit of a theatre goer, aren't you?
No, they're doing a movie. They're remaking. They're doing, and I was like, oh, I have to listen to all the songs again because that was my childhood. That movie.
Yeah.
So I adore. So I'm just a bit like, God, what they're going to do as a remake? I'm a bit cautious. So that's made me stay in my happy place until I started to see spoilers and rumours about Saturday, and I sent David a lovely message about how it got me feeling.
Yeah.
You've got me thinking now about maybe there should be some sort of prequel to Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, or just call it, I don't know, Chitty Bang or something, and it could be about the early life of the child catcher or something like that. I don't know.
or the granddad. I would watch like a war movie with the granddad. He's one of my favourite characters.
Where Caractacus Potts is like a little boy, and I'd watch that. Oh, yes,
I haven't seen that movie in a couple of decades, but I remember the music.
Yeah, it's timeless. Like, and Dick Van Dyke. Like, how can you get wrong with Dick Van Dyke in his peak in that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't say it. Let's move.
Let's move on.
Let's move on and stick.
Dick Van Dyke and his peak.
Oh no, that's another one.
I can go anywhere. You're talking to me. You can't say that sort of stuff in front of me. Okay, let's move on. Let's stick with the musical theme because, it is, of course, any Eurovision fans on the panel?
Yeah.
I broke David.
That's a yes from David. How about you, Charlotte? Does your musical appreciation usually stretch to the Eurovision Song Contest, the infamous Eurovision Song Contest? No. Which, of course, is the correct answer.
Well, I like a couple of years ago, we had, what's he called, Sam, who actually had a good voice representing us.
Oh,
like,
I did see a picture. Hair. Yeah.
He was in a half-bad single for once, but usually, no, I can't stand it.
No, me neither. So I approach this week with great caution. I've been dreading this for about 6 months, actually, Matt. Australia take part in the Eurovision Song Contest, don't they? Even though they don't, they're not part of Europe. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
So I bet you get sort of bombarded with it as well by your state broadcaster too.
Yeah. Well, it's actually an offshoot of our state broadcaster. It was originally shown by our we had a multicultural channel set up here called SBS, and that's besides that and the soccer or your football, that's what really they were getting very popular for. So the Eurovision's been around for at least 20 plus years here, and it's just grown and grown and grown, mostly in the Sydney area, and so that's the reason why it's sort of exploded out. But they've been harassing you guys for years to get in there. I don't know why, but yeah, once they got in, I was just like, oh, here we go. And it's as boring as anything for me. So I can't really. I'm not into it. I'm just not into the Eurovision.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the Eurovision peaked in '81. I haven't seen. I don't really know why we're still taking part. We should have quit while we were ahead. All the way back then, David, and the idea of mashing up the Eurovision Song Contest with Doctor Who, I accept there is a crossover of interest, but I don't fall into any of that kind of Venn diagram, really. So I've been dreading this now for a number of weeks. I just wish they'd have got it out of the way earlier on in the season, so I wouldn't have had to endure this sort of countdown,
Totally, because at the end of the day, Eurovision is meant to be a song contest, not who can dress up in the most outrageous outfit and gyrate across the stage contest, and who you like most as a country. And to me, Eurovision has lost its way. The fact that I'm not being anti-Australian, Matt, please, but the fact that we've allowed Australia in, that's on a completely different continent, is completely baffling as well. And I just have lost all. In fact, I said to Charlotte earlier that I have lost all love for Eurovision since Sir Terry Wogan gave up. It's never been the same since, because half the fun was listening to the old Terry getting a bit drunk after song 9.
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it, David? You would guess how drunk he was. Like, how many Baileys has he had at this point? Like, how bad have the songs been?
I've knocked out the old Cherry because I can't pronounce the one from Azerbaijan.
For those who have no idea what David and Charlotte are talking about, the late, great Terry Wogan was the commentator on the song contest for decades, and he took the piss out of it more than anybody else, and built its legend, really. And there was even less real point in listening to it or watching it once he gave it up. I thought, well, if Terry's given it up, then that must be its sort of final blows. So to keep me sort of on an even keel, I'm just trying to get back to a happy place by hanging out with friends here. And of course, everybody in the live chat, taking a leaf out of Fraser Hines' book. This is new this week, Matt. Fraser Hines relaxing here. It looks like he just got out the spa, doesn't he? He's been on location. That's a spa, not the spa supermarket. So it looks like he's been on location here, recording a new material for a film, I think he said, which he's grown a moustache for. Yeah, could be in Barbados. Do you think, Matt? Is that
or Benidorm?
Benidorm could be. I'm trying to look in his glasses and see a reflection of anything, but I think maybe best not. Looks like
probably find the moon, an astronaut in there.
But yeah, I do love to see Doctor Who legends here, sort of chilling out, having a good time, lapping up the rays there, and it's great to see Fraser looking so well too. Something wholesome before we plunge into yet more nonsense. Another thing guaranteed to make me perk me up a little is Audred AudioVisual there, the current Doctor Who companion for just another couple of weeks, hanging out with Ncuti Gat while they're she's got him in the palm of her hand. That's one of those new figurines we looked at a few weeks ago, if you remember. They come in a little pack. You get all of the new series Doctors from Fisher Price.
Fisher Price. Yeah.
Oh, little people.
Yeah. The Fisher Price little people. Yeah. I never thought I'd envy.
Matt, I know you ordered one. Did it come yet?
No, it's still on the way for my collection.
Gary, I never thought I'd
envy. It'll go in the tree house, Gary.
I never thought I'd envy 2.5 inches worth of plastic before now, but being in the palm of her hand sounds like Yeah. Oh God.
You know,
Yes.
I mean,
Okay, let's move on.
I know that restraining order is still in place, Dan, but hopefully it'll be lifted by the time the finale is on.
Yeah. Yeah, something's got to perk up Doctor Who this year, hasn't it? Yeah, we are here to talk about Doctor Who, believe it or not, and not just the present, but the past and maybe the future too. And we need your comments about all of it as well, because we're in it together. We're in it together as always. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm still struggling with some of the mumbo jumbo from the episode that aired last weekend. So the idea that there's another one coming soon, it's like, oh wow, have I really got room in my head to process even more nonsense? But I have worked something extra out, I'm happy to say, Charlotte. So this graphic here was put out across the socials of the BBC in the last day or two, reminding us about that jaw dropper. Let's be kind. Jaw-dropping moment where Joe Martin appeared once again as the fugitive Doctor there in the episode last week. It had been rumoured by several people. I didn't really believe it until I saw it myself. But there she was. And that line, you said it on Monday, didn't you, Charlotte? How, if anything, sums up the fugitive Doctor.
Yeah. That might be finished one day. I think that could be a tagline with a poster with her, and it would be perfect.
Well, since they put this up, I've realised that when was it the fugitive Doctor first appeared? About 5.5 years ago on screen now, and something has been niggling me about that character in all that time, how she seemed familiar, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And now I've realised, because of this performance and that line, not the line on the bottom, the one at the top, and frankly, darling, I was busy in a different story, because every time I hear her say that, or things like that, it's always struck me as being slightly familiar. I've worked out where I've heard it before and what the characterization reminds me of. And yeah, it's Big Mo. Big Mo from EastEnders, Charlotte. Do you watch EastEnders? Do you know who I mean?
No, but I've seen clips of this character, and she was a bit like broad and quite sort of, she would be quite tough sounding whenever I've seen clips. So yeah, I get why you're sort of thinking back to that.
I think, how about you, David? I think that the fugitive Doctor is actually based on Big Mo, as played by Layla Morse.
Absolutely. And I think Big Mo is a timeless child. And she had a daughter that is going to be called Dr. Poppy.
And
because I keep referring to her as Dr. Poppy. And Big Mo actually had an affair with John Pertwee's third Doctor. When she used to work in one of the gentlemen's clubs that he used to frequent, and she took a liking to him and then turned into the fugitive Doctor.
You could be right. I mean, I know that Big Mo was shagging Fat Elvis for a while. If you remember, there is an EastEnders character called Fat Elvis. Everybody, I'm not making this up. Big Mo, Fat Elvis. Yeah, God,
Big Ron was the master as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. So let us know what you think as well. If you're any EastEnders fans out there from back in the day, I don't watch EastEnders anymore. I think she sort of flips in and out of it now because this actress Layla Morse is pushing. I think she's about 80, something like that. But she's been in it off and on for about 25 years. But yeah, that's my spicy take. The fugitive Doctor is in fact Big Mo. They could be one and the same. Let's go and find out what they have to say about all of this nonsense so far over in the live chat, because people are listening to all this, believe it or not. And let's take the temperature as we head up to Eurovision weekend there.
Oh, hello there.
I love that.
Hello.
Random.
What was Joe Martin doing in that one?
I like that midnight one where they had Sweep behind Rose Ayling-Ellis as to the midnight paddy. Did you see that one?
No, I've not seen that one. No. Okay, we have over in the live chat, we've got Richard Brooks there who says, Good evening, folks. And Enigmatic Joker, who simply says, hello, everyone. Tom from T-Dwarf Productions is in again, as is Stephen Braddock and Peter Harrington. It's good to see you all. Hope you're having fun. Is any of this making sense so far? No, I should bloody well hope not either. We do try. We do try. So who else? What else? And where is it going? Let's have a look and see. Garbage says, hail, chat. Hails. And giddy up, says Lord Thoth. Giddy up.
Hello.
A bunch of Wallies simply waving at us from the... Obviously started drinking early. Don't blame you. And Oti is here as well, who says, I hear there are going to be a lot of musical numbers this week. I'd say you could be right. Brace yourself. Brace yourself, Oti. We have more comments. So, yes, Tom, it looks like Tom is making a mandrel. He's done the body and he's getting onto the legs.
Oh,
Can't wait to see that. You know, I love the mandrels. Can't wait to see that. And Colin Archer has joined us as well. Can it get any woker? Is a question like, can it get any worse? The question is somehow, always, yes. We've just given up hope, haven't we, Charlotte, at this point?
Well, yeah, we've got finale territory coming up, and that seems to be usually Russell's excuse to go ballistic. So,
yes, any restraint that he was showing earlier on just completely disappears, doesn't it, for finales? We've got Cheryl here as well, waving. It looks like a rubber glove. I like it. Yeah, very good. Woodhouse122 says evening all. We've got an ahoy from Ian Scales, and we've got a bunch of Wallace suggests that Susan Boyle could play the part of the master.
Why not?
Oh yeah, let's go for it. Why not at this point? Yeah, whatever at this point in the proceedings. Rose Kirby says, "I'm getting who's getting excited for the Eurovision Song Contest? Will you watch all 4 hours?" No, I won't even watch 4 minutes. No, what kind of question is that? You enjoy yourself, Rose. Rather you than me. We've got the Zero Room in the live chat too, and Lee Smith. Hoomers, schmoomers, says Lee. I think it's somewhat dismissive. I think Doctor Who fans can never have enough speculation.
Worryingly.
Yeah.
Some of them, anyway.
Yeah. I'm actually still hoping that there's going to be some musical numbers on the reaction show on Saturday.
I've got a bottle of spice rum, so anything's possible.
What a waste of Maltesers, says Colin Archer. That could be directed at you, David.
They were out of date. So,
and we've got and we've got lots of comments here on saying hello to you, Charlotte. Killer Rabbit of Care Bonog is talking about Star Wars cosplay for whatever reason. You go for it. Yeah, I think that's very, very strange, but you do you. What's Russell T Davies doing in the chat? Asks a bunch of Wallies. Well, get some tips, get some ideas about where he's going wrong. We've got real Steve in the live chat as well, as opposed to the fake one.
There you go, Charlotte.
Hushabye Mountain.
Oh, yes.
Song from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, isn't it?
That's
I saw it at the cinema in the 60s. One of my first films. I've lots of fans of Chitty Bang Bang.
I got people saying the songs. I'm happy.
Yeah. Truly Scrumptious. That was another one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Julian Goodwin has joined us as well. Another new name. Thanks for being here, Julian. Sit back, relax, and get stuck in. Get commenting by all means. And we have what's this? The futile doctor from Matthew Pound. Lee Smith says Juno is coming for us all. What a horrifying thought. And we have this one from. Yeah, we have the obvious one from. I knew somebody was going to mention this. From Julian Goodwin, of course. We have who else? We've got Rob in the live chat here with a howdy or, and Stephen Braddock. Yes, it's just that they have simply race swapped Big Mo in the way that they have the equalizer. You could be right. Hashtag Green Lives Matter, says Matthew Pounder, and Peter, I'm not going to read that. Okay, thank you, everybody. Richard Brooks is hoping for extra time and penalty time.
Yes!
I don't know what you mean. And save your ratings for me, says Matthew Pounder.
That's a good one.
Some ratings in a little while. You'll be pleased to learn. Farsight is here with a hello, everyone. And Benign Crinoid is also joining us in the live chat as well. And says, I hear that Sandy, the Sandbeast, and the Shrivenzale will be belting out a duet on Unrequited Love. Well, we wouldn't be able to understand it anyway without subtitles. So I'll take your word for it, Crinoid. Yeah. Let us know how you get on. Yeah. Unleashed the musical, says Richard Brooks. So, yeah, I think people have started drinking early.
Yeah.
Philip Royce says that out-of-date Maltesers wouldn't stop me eating them as they bounce off David's TV screen into
You're welcome
my
to come round,
gob.
Philip. You're welcome to come round.
There you go.
And
Make sure you film it.
We have been joined by Russell T. Davies, the current
Russell.
showrunner of Doctor Who samply says, I do wish Luke was here because he'd be able to do the accent for me. He simply says, you asked for it. You asked for it.
Boy, you're a brave man, Russell, for showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russell, listen up, mate. You're going to get a few tips on where you're going wrong, sunshine. And yeah, obviously join in the live chat with your comments. Please like the video, subscribe, and hit the cloister bell to get all our notifications as well, because there's a lot more where all of this came from, including a lot of this.
Go on then.
You're watching Type 40.
Woo!
Okay, so where were we? Last week, if you remember, we couldn't really hear a great deal of what was going on. Doctor Who, was it only me that suffered with that?
No,
I even watched it
Couldn't hear
again.
he did, folks. He told me his experience
sorry.
after the second watch as well. He wasn't better.
You watched it again?
Yeah, because I was ironing the first time, and I just heard a load of mumbling. So I thought, when Dan made his revelation about he figured out from the POV of the weird lady to the fugitive doctor thing, I thought, well, I'm going to watch it again because to see if I can see anything, and I did spot something. We got some crying at the moment that he has a go at Omo. You see the eye tears well up, and you see him wipe away the tears. But you don't actually see the tears trickle, but you do see the tears forming in his eyes. So I do count that as a cry. But the rest of the opposite, the rest of the episode was absolute dog shit.
And it wasn't helped.
The whole series has been dog shit.
Well, yeah, I know, Matt. Yeah, but you know, it's like an England batting collapse. It just gets worse. So
it wasn't.
I don't know how much worse it can get.
It wasn't helped. It wasn't helped that so much of it was inaudible for one reason or another. I don't blame the current composer Murray Gold. It's not necessarily his fault. He was a recipient of a special award from the Doctor Who the Doctor Who Appreciation Society, wasn't he? A couple of weeks ago, at one of their dues at the Capital Cutaway event for. What was it? Special contribution, outstanding contribution to Doctor Who. So that was given to Murray Gold last week, and that's very nice and all of that. But I do think there could be something said for dialing it back, taking it down now and again from 11 to at least an 8, or maybe even an 8-bit. Check this out, as was posted to our Facebook group just this week. You can see where he's going wrong, can't you? The beauty of this is I can play it on YouTube and not get copyright straight.
Yes.
This should have been Jodie's theme.
Oh, the middle eight. Oh, yes. Oh yeah, I'm there. If that was there, I'd watch it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even like the little crash
like
at the end.
Nintendo Game Boy.
I even like the little crash at the end. It reminded me of the old Asteroids games when you'd lose a life or something, Matt, and your spaceship would explode or something. You get that sort of crash noise. But this is the work of, let me get this right, this is music teacher Taliska Rawlings, who has put this together. It's somewhat of a specialty of his, getting modern themes and translating them, retrofitting them back to the 8-bit computer game era. To be honest, I kind of like the sort of new wave, old school vibes of that, Gary. Reminds me of when I was a kid.
Yeah, well done, Taliska. That's, catching. Bobbing along with that. Very nice job.
I mean, if they are going to drop the budget, Charlotte, no offense, Taliska, but they're going to drop the budget, that would have to be across the board, wouldn't it? So maybe you wouldn't need to pay somebody like Murray Gold. You could get people in who can do this, do the entire score, or the incidental music could be done like this. Do you think that could be a hit with people?
It's very well done. Like you said, you can still tell it's Doctor Who, but it's clearly like people said NES era and like 8-bit and Nintendo.
It's MIDI music.
And
that's what they call it, MIDI music.
Here's what's frustrating about your point about Murray Gold. Like, he proved in the well he could actually do that lower register music. Like, at the beginning, it was quite atmospheric. And I would... So, if there was another episode that needed that approach, it was the story in the engine, like I said, because they were sort of this mumbling, lots of dialogue, lots of exposition, heavy thing, and that's when you don't need your music blaring at, like you said, 10 at every scene.
Yeah, I know that some people really love Murray Gold and were delighted that he came back. And I didn't think it was the worst news in the world. But the fact is that so much of it seems to have been quite unmemorable over the last 18 months or so. I wouldn't say he's doing it on autopilot, David, but I think that perhaps Murray is also, when it comes to Doctor Who, a bit of a spent force as well, with the best will in the world.
Yeah, it's like that your favorite band going on one gig too many or one tour too many. It's his time has been and gone, a bit like when Dudley Simpson's time had been and gone. And I love Dudley's work. And Murray produced some amazing scores. Doomsday, a lot of the 11th Doctor, A Madman in a Box, and Wedding of River Song. Some really, really lovely pieces of music. And now it's just like he seems to be mishmashing music cues all over the place and sort of trampling all over the dialogue, which is not great. And it's just sort of like, Murray, mate, just hang your hat up with this.
Give it a rest.
Gig. Give it a rest.
Actually,
Exactly.
You reminded me, I think it was a Lux, they played 11th Doctor music in bits of that episode. And of course, me, my ears pricked up, and I was like, why am I hearing Matt's era? Like, this is why... And it made no sense in the scene. So I think they had like a version of Madman in a Box playing, or like one of his like more sadder renditions, but it wasn't a sad scene. So I was like,
it's just sort
why?
He's just filling bits in, probably from his previous catalogue, because he's watching the stuff and going, oh, blimey, what can I put in here? I know, we'll put something in here, that'll do. Yeah, get the check, thank you very much. And it's just a case of he's probably got the same issues that we have when he's watching it. What have I said?
No, that comment.
Russell T. Davies has commented again in the live chat.
I just had this image of Nakuti spread eagle on the couch.
So Russell says, ever since I had Shooty crying on my casting couch, I knew he was the one. I will send you the link.
Yeah.
Russell, if you want to come in and talk some more, by all means, come join in. We're going to look at the ratings later on. You're going to enjoy that, mate.
He wasn't wearing a skirt either.
Was Murray there with his violin?
Oh, yes. What else have we got? I love it. So people do love the 8-bit theme. Love it. I prefer it, says Ian Scales.
Yeah.
Rob seems to. I think that's a good thing. Bar FS. Is that a good thing, Rob? You'll have to let us know. Very CFAX, says Matthew Powder. Remember CFAX?
Love CFAX.
Sounded like Doctor Who played on a stylophone, says Mark Dando. It does. I've always wanted to have a go at stylophone, Mark, but I've never been able to get hold of one.
Your CFAX, we call it telecast here.
Telecast. Do you still use it?
Teletext.
Yeah, they've it's been discontinued now. It's been discontinued in Britain. Aphex Twin, says Lee Smith. People seem to like this. People seem to like this. And Vanessa Law suggests that Murray Gold's heart, maybe his heart isn't in it now. Now you could be right. Maybe he's heard some of the Reddit rumors that we've been trying to process over the last few days. So we looked at this. We looked at this, didn't we, on the last edition, on the early edition a few days ago. These rumors aren't dying down. They're really traveling, and they're upsetting a lot of people. It has to be said. So there was speculation mostly that the next Doctor has already been cast. If you remember, there was a claim that they were one of the attendees at last Sunday's BAFTAs, and the front runner seems to still be, another female Doctor, one of that list. Yeah, it's Billie Piper. Yeah. Could be about to take a third role in the Whoniverse if the Reddit rumors are to be believed. Gary, did you catch our show the other day, and have you heard about all this stuff? And what's your take on it before we leave it all together?
Well, no, of course I did, and I think that except for their appearances in Doctor Who, I'm not really familiar with a lot of the other shows and movies that some of the people on the list have done. But I mean, I'm really curious about if Billie Piper does get the role. I really want to see a multi-Doctor episode with Chris Eccleston then.
Ooh.
With her as the Doctor, back with Chris Eccleston. That would be really interesting.
I think he did say at some point in the past that the only way that they'd ever get him back on the show would be if Billy was the Doctor and he could play the companion or something daft.
Well,
you know, one of these things that actors say when they think they're being clever. Psychic Beats in the live chat says, to be fair, the entire team of the show, including Murray Gold, need to go. I'm not sure. Some people just seem to be happy to hand wave practically everything. And this rumor about Billie Piper, Matt, it's not going away. And she was there at the BAFTAs dressing to impress, a very daring outfit, and her fans were loving it. There they were getting the selfies. There's David Lammy on the right as well. Didn't know what he's doing there. And Steve McFadden there on the far left. So there were celebrities there lining up to have their picture taken.
I didn't even see him.
Whoa, who's that?
And there she is.
What are they doing?
So she's clearly loving life, but what do you think, Matt? I mean, I think this is just far too far.
It's garbage, rubbish. If they'd do anything, they'd bring Joe Martin back. That's how I could see him being. That's how he thinks he's clever. Russell, there's no way they'll bring her. She's too busy with other stuff, and I can understand. It'd just be stupid. It would be just like a cameo virtually. Because there's no series after this for how long, you know. But it's not. It's just fan wank, as people used to say. You know, it's just you know, these people trying to millennials and that have grown up with this series they're just wishing it to happen, and it's not going to happen.
One of the conclusions that we came to that we thought was possible was that the entire story had been planted, Matt, by somebody on the production team. Maybe Russell. He's in the live chat. Maybe maybe he'll let us in on it.
Own up,
just
Russell.
For us.
We're on to you.
Yeah,
we've got you. Benign Crino says, "I'll accept Billy as long as she's wearing Punky Fish again." So this is why, all eyes were.
What is? Can I just ask, what's Punky Fish?
That was the
smell, is it?
Casual wear.
No.
No,
cool.
It's not. It's not a cologne. It smells like a fish.
Well, I wasn't even thinking of a cologne, to be honest.
Smells like a halibut.
Punky Fish was a brand of casual wear, a line of designer casual wear from the mid-noughties that was very popular with teens at the time, which is why Rose Tyler, everything that Rose Tyler wore, all those hoodies and that style of jeans that she wore was all Punky Fish. You do see the Punky Fish logo on some of them, but the BBC have to be careful with stuff like that. Had to be then and still have to be now because technically it's advertising. But yeah, it was all branded as Punky Fish stuff, wasn't it, Charlotte?
But that was deliberate because a lot of girls at her age at that time, that was sort of the in brand for sort of very young teenage, early 20s to wear. So they
I think Sarah Graham used to wear it, Charlotte.
Yeah, no, and that was, to be fair, Russell was very good at, and this is why I agree, he did such a good job with Rose as a character and making like my generation who first watched Doctor Who through that first episode, we sort of connected a lot with Rose. We could see sort of some of ourselves and this idea of the companion being more central. So to have such an important character and then trying to convince us that that same face is now the Doctor, especially as New Who has sort of added this idea that the Doctor's got a modicum, some sort of control over a regeneration. He can influence it somehow. So then you think about the implications and you just go, no. Now we're getting really disturbing if the Doctor's on purpose picked the face of somebody he loved. No.
It'd be a step far too far for me, Charlotte. I like the fantasy aspect of Doctor Who, and whilst I don't believe that it can go anywhere and you can do anything, there's always a breaking point with everything.
I think regeneration now has gone to the point where it's just ridiculous now. And it's just, now anyone can be a doctor, and it was just never like this, and it's just become convoluted, I would say.
That's one of my I think one thing that New Who overall, the entire New Who era has done really sadly is really
it used to be so special, Gary.
Well, it destroyed the mystique of regeneration. It answered all the questions. It took away all the mystery. It was overused. He can call up regeneration energy to give himself a shave at
Gold
this point.
Sparkles.
And it's just, back in the day, it was, a rare occurrence. It was magic. It was mysterious, and that's all gone now.
It was a moment in television every time it was on, and now it's on nearly every bloody week.
To the point where, and that's what's made me think, Matt, that in all sincerity, that something like this, that these rumors, there may be some weight to them, because just as Bernard Crinoid says in the live chat, regeneration isn't special anymore, just like you guys have said. It's cheapened to such an extent, and I believe that Russell T Davies has played a huge part in doing that. In fact, they all have. Even Stephen Moffat have really cheapened it.
Oh yeah, he was guilty.
So,
when you do fake outs, come on.
Yeah.
So would they use it as a sensationalist gimmick to top off the entire series and make sure it leaves the screen for however long, because it's going to be away for a fair while, we know that. So it leaves the screen with something sensational that will just keep people talking about it in the way that final episodes of other TV shows have in decades past. I'm thinking of Dallas, for example. I'm thinking of the young ones, when the double-decker bus goes off the cliff. People remember moments like that when things go extra big and sensational. And has it been reduced to such a point that that's all Russell T Davies has left to try and anchor the series, this 62-year-old series, in the minds of the British public? An act of desperation and sensationalism like that, you know what? He probably has taken it that low. That's the conclusion that I reached just yesterday as I've been mulling all of this over.
Yeah, I think he'd take it low if he put Joe Martin back in it.
There's another option, of course.
I really do.
There's another option, of course, though, Matt, and there's another name that people are talking about, including Vanessa Law here in the live chat. David Tennant regenerated 3 times, and believe it or not, a lot of the talk, this was before and since the BAFTAs, has been yet again revolving around David Tennant, the 54-year-old Scots actor. A couple of years ago, I'd have said that this was wishful thinking. Now, with the best will in the world, I think most of us are over David Tennant for one reason or another. For however long, I think we've seen and certainly heard more than enough of him. But at the BAFTAs at the weekend, Deadline, who are pretty good for reporting Doctor Who stuff, they managed to get a couple of minutes with David Tennant, and they put the question to him about a possible return to Doctor Who. Check this out. This is exclusively to Deadline over the weekend.
Can you clarify all the stuff I keep reading about? And I think it's mentioned in the
cock.
in the Guardian the other day about Doctor Who. What is
Oh, your mic's still on. Oh,
I mean,
what do you mean?
Well, someone was writing that you're going to be coming back to it or something. And
Nobody's told me.
that's what you said in the Guardian.
Yeah, no, literally, nobody has called me, so I think Doctor Who's doing very well without me. As it does. I mean, that's the glorious thing about Doctor Who. It reinvents itself and it moves on, and new generations discover it. And I mean, 60 years it's been going. It shows no signs of stopping. So part of what makes it such a vibrant show is that it keeps renewing and finding new ways to tell stories in that world. And that's, as far as I'm aware, that's happening without me for a while.
No guest appearances?
No, I promise you. I promise you I'd tell you if it was true.
Of course you would.
He's
Who's going to tell him that the 70s are over?
That looks like third Doctor lapels there. It really does.
Why is he wearing one of George's blouses?
He wishes he could dress like Pertwee and get away.
Well, but I mean, the design of it.
No, I know.
I'm sorry, David. Does somebody have to break him the news? That it's really not doing that well, mate, at the moment. I think when even your usual allies are saying it's struggling, I think you need to be a little bit less silly by saying comments like that.
Deadline are about as objective as it gets, Charlotte.
And it's such a bad fitting
I believe
jacket.
everything Deadline says.
But that's maybe like he could
With
have
their
just done the
reports.
usual, like you said about the regeneration. Like they all tend to go to that as like, oh, Doctor Who's always changing. Doctor Who's always got like this lease of life. It can come back or it will carry on. But no, it's doing really well without me.
He must realise though, if they're asking for him when he's coming back, he must go, what, isn't this era popular or something? What's going on?
Do you think he watches it? When the guy from Deadline asked him that question, you could see he kind of feigned a surprise. Like, whoa, what do you mean? I think Tennant knows only too well that things aren't going great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He was a long-time fan, wasn't he? That was the thing.
I don't think he watches it, Dan.
He claims that he does. He claims that it's an essential watch in his household, obviously, because he's a huge ambassador for the brand, and not just because he's played the part himself twice.
Well, it's in his life too, constantly, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but
Peter Davison's his father-in-law, and he's constantly reminded by it, even when he's not in the public eye. So yeah, he's aware of it. He is.
I didn't buy his surprise at that question being pitched to him either, Gary. What did you think?
Well, I mean, even if he was flat out lying because, let's say, he's coming back as a cameo in the finale or whatever, then later on he can just say, oh well, come on, I had to keep the secret and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know what to believe at this point.
The 14th Doctor is still out there. He may well still be eating cucumber sandwiches underneath a parasol in Donna's orangery or wherever it was that we last saw him. This obviously was the last episode where we saw the 14th Doctor in the giggle there, having just regenerated, and off he went to hang out with Wilf and the rest of Donna's
I
family.
keep forgetting Gatwa had no pants on and had his mallet out. It just
say what?
I forgot that. Yeah, I forgot that happened, and I wish I had kept forgetting.
I tell you what, it is a splendid mallet as well, isn't it? It's,
the magic mallet that creates Tootard.
Yeah, the Roger Rabbit.
So, do we think that David Tennant was surprised by that question that he fielded there from Deadline? Because this does seem quite well rehearsed, doesn't it? It's the part of what makes it such a vibrant show, is that it keeps renewing and finding new ways to tell stories. I mean, he's saying something, using a lot of words, but not actually saying anything. As far as I'm aware, that's happening without me for a while. Obviously, he's about to start filming the second series of Jilly Cooper's Rivals, isn't he? That's been very, very successful. The latest of a lot of big successes for David Tennant. This man still isn't short of work, despite the failure of the game show. But it would
notice. I just noticed, Dan, the top paragraph there of what you're showing. The wording of that is very similar to what they asked Russell at the screening about, it's a show that keeps renewing, finding new ways to tell stories. That's very similar to what Russell said about, young people will come along and tell new stories and everything. So it seems to me that it's like a, kind of pre-written comment that everybody's using.
And of course, he said, "I promise you, I'd tell you if it was true," which we all know is it's an in-joke, isn't it? Because of course he wouldn't. Of course he wouldn't.
No, and that would really be admitting defeat. Like, really, really admitting defeat if he was to come back. That's just... No, that's just,
It would even wipe the smile off Shooty Gatwa's little face, I think, if that was to happen.
I don't think he cares anymore, Dan. I don't think he cares anymore about it. He's already left, you can tell.
It was only ever a rung on the ladder to Shooty Gatwa. Yep. He's long gone, and in a few weeks' time, he'll be at a place where he won't give Doctor Who a moment's thought anymore.
Just another one like Jodie Whittaker, really.
But what I'd like to know, of course, is what's the appetite out there for potentially a third incarnation of the Doctor, played by David Tennant? If not now, then at some point in the future. Do we think it's inevitable that whether David Tennant either accepts it, acknowledges it, or is even aware of it, is it inevitable that he will play that part again? And obviously, the actor is probably... I think he's at a point where he's less popular now than he's ever been. But then again, he was a ferociously popular actor for the best part of 20 years. That could change again. He does seem to have realised and shut his mouth for the most part. But I
can't wait for this show to be officially cancelled, and then for him to be to actually be giving out the apologies and everything once they ask him all the questions. Oh, when are you coming? Have you heard anything about Doctor Who and that back? I can't wait for what he's going to be saying. I really can't, because you can't. Once it's gone, you know.
Dalek Lives Matter suggests we will never be rid of David Tennant, Charlotte.
Right.
It's like sleeping with your ex-girlfriend, all right? Initially, it might be a little bit of fun, but then sooner or later, you're arguing about whose turn it is to put the dishwasher on, and you then realise why you broke up with them in the first place. It is absolutely pointless. So it's time to move on from David Tennant. Thank you very much for you.
I used to really like David Tennant way back for when he was acting in Taking Over the Asylum. I remember him being just a standout, and when he was announced as Doctor Who, everybody was like, "Oh, Christopher Eccleston." I was like, "Yay! We're going to get some bloody good acting now." And that's now. That's it. He's a totally different man now. He's a totally different man. Whereas people like Tom Baker and that never change.
Yeah, I think he will pop up in an episode at some point again. Like, they purposefully have sort of on screen, he's just pottering about in the universe. We don't know what he's doing. He's just there. That's become a problem now with these plots getting so big and massive and the end of the world. You go, well, there's a Tennant Doctor knocking around somewhere. How come he's not helping or doing something? So Russell's created, I think on purpose, the door open for Tennant if he wants to come back. But now in universe, it's creating an issue plot-wise, because Russell doesn't like to think ahead with his writing more than, I think, about 2 pages. He didn't foresee that.
The other day, Charlotte, you mentioned how it was depressing and ridiculous and confusing, really, how in an age where there are more channels than ever, and there seems to be more television made than ever, event shows filling up all these channels, all these streaming platforms, all these actors, all this talent.
Yeah.
And they keep going back to what we talked on the Monday show about a cluster of actors and actresses that they won't leave alone. But here we have one actor who they seem happy to keep going back to in theory. The appetite for David Tennant to come back in the live chat here on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X is next to zero.
Yeah, because
just over-egged it.
That the problem is, you can only once you oversee an actor in a role, like we've all said, it becomes less special. Like for me, and I've seen lots of other people say, for example, if Matt Smith got announced to do a one-off special in the next couple of years, the reaction to that would be amazing, because we haven't seen him in this role since his run. He hasn't done Big Finish. He's still talks very fondly of the role, and he clearly still loves the role, and he would come back. He said that if scheduling was okay, if he could do it, if it worked out, he would be back in this show. But that would be an event. That's my point. It would be a big wow, Matt's back. I wonder what he's going to do in the role now. I wonder how he'll play it. We can all pretty much predict how Tennant's going to play this role now. He's not, even with the 60th, he didn't really be this incredibly new, different incarnation, even though technically he had a different number. It was just a slightly more downtrodden, depressed version of 10, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah. Have you noticed how we've quickly? Have you noticed how we've quickly sort of flipped in the space of a few minutes, just playing with this idea, to a kind of inevitability that David Tennant will at some point return to this part, whether any of us like it or not, regardless of how much work he's either got or not. A couple of people in the live chat have suggested that David Tennant is a has-been. I think that's nowhere near the mark. He's still very, very much in demand, but it was, I think, the last year has damaged him, and he's going to lean hard into that Jilly Cooper show because that was a huge success. So expect to see more of that and less of him rabbiting on whilst the party, the political party that he advocated for, continue to F up Great Britain in leaps and bounds. Nathan Legg suggests that Tennant will launch his directorial debut with Doctor Who.
Dan, yes. Can I ask, how's that? You're probably going to have this up, maybe. The game show that he's currently doing.
Shit.
What's that going on with
It's
that?
in this instance, I'd say this is kind of doing it down. It's underperformed. I don't think it's been a complete disaster, but it's certainly underperformed because they put a lot of money into that show, and they first advertised it. God, 8 or 9 months ago, we saw that publicity picture of him in the costume holding that cube thing in the set. So I'm not sure when it was actually filmed. It's kind of like a Crystal Maze sort of thing. So they were putting it on two nights a week, but it seems that it just couldn't sustain that at all. So it's now down to 1 night a week. So yeah, underperformed if we're being kind. But the idea that the public have had enough of David Tennant, there was a point where he was practically on most nights of the week doing one thing or another, whether he was hosting something, Charlotte, whether he was acting in something, or just being interviewed on Graham Norton. He was just always on the TV. We reached saturation point with David Tennant years ago, and I simply think that people are over it. That's all.
Yeah, and I think, but in general, just talking about regeneration and that list, regeneration should be this sort of spark of a new face, of a new energy coming into the role, somebody who you want to see how that Doctor's going to act.
It was a birth. Back in the day. It was
this idea of
you were there at their birth.
This idea of a new version of the character you love, but it's a new version and it's exciting, and let's see what they do. And now that the possibility that we could get an actor or an actress, which is, if we are to believe the rumours, an actress, which we've seen before, which we sort of know a little bit how they play parts before in Who. And I just think that excitement is just going to disappear if they go too familiar with the face.
I really wish that the Deadline interviewer, and I'm being honest, I really wish the Deadline interviewer had asked him about the rumor that Billy Piper might be cast as the new Doctor. I would love to see Tennant's reaction to Billy Piper maybe coming in as the Doctor.
I think even David Tennant wouldn't be able to sort of run a party line with that or stifle his his surprise. And as always, let us know what you think about all of these prospects in the comments. Yes, it's just 2 weeks till the end of the season, till the end of this production, for all intents and purposes, for now at least. It could be that they have something spectacular in mind, but obviously it's a little while. And it's a little while until no Christmas special, mate, no Christmas special. But fortunately, you have Type 40 live here on Rumble, X, YouTube, and Facebook instead. Our regular live streams, Mondays and Thursdays from 8 p.m, as well as those extra bonus editions. Every weekend we've been doing this, Charlotte. We've been bringing people instant reactions to those episodes within how long? About 20 minutes of them leaving the screens on BBC One. It's been quite a journey so far. We've still got 3 more to go. I think we're holding up okay, but obviously we're going to tell you some more about that a little later on, everybody.
Despite the psychological damage it does to all of us on the panel, we're here for you every Saturday.
Hey, my mental state's fine.
If that's not enough, you can get us in your ears.
Because you don't watch it, Matt.
If that's not enough, you can get us in your ears across all major podcatchers with the Type 40 podcast as well. Reviews, previews, interviews, geek outs, and deep dives across all major podcatchers and our home feed at type40.podbean.com. Not only that, we brought you more this week. Another conversation with legendary, controversial Doctor Who fan figure Ian Levine. So yeah, he sat down with me for another long-form conversation there, touching on everything that's been going on Doctor Who over the last 2 or 3 or 4 months. A proper catch-up, as well as Ian talking about his own projects as well, those AAI reconstructions. He's even made it into the international press with those as well. Ian doesn't pull any punches, but when has he ever? It's an entertaining conversation, and it's here on the YouTube and Rumble channels there. Ian Levine Uncensored Postal. Go and get some of that in your life, and drop us a comment as well, by all means. Break open the Jaffas. There's a lot more to come. Yeah, people are asking about Captain Poppy. We haven't got time to go there. I'm still reeling.
Dr. Poppy! Dr. Poppy!
They bring that thing back for? God.
Are you kidding, man? Have you not heard the
No.
the
What
buzz?
happened? They brought it back. What?
You'll have to go back and watch the show from the other day, mate. We've got
Did you have a diaper change?
far too much to talk about. Oh. Where next?
Ah, perfect. Just the person I need to see. Firstly, loving the outfit, by the way. Really suits your hair. Secondly, the universe is falling apart. I don't have much time to yet. I need to shoot off. I need to do something. But by all means, this is imperative. Watch Type 40. The Type 40 podcast is where you need to be. Seguida!
Not quite time to switch off for next. The 3 more episodes left to screen of this current season of Doctor Who. We're going to keep pushing on. Look, even more than ever this year, it seemed that there's been more interest and conversation concerning the ratings of Doctor Who than the show itself. It's almost like we're watching an accident happening in slow motion somehow, watching this season, which I think is a pity. I don't think any fan wants us to get to that point, do we? But here we are. Again, this time I found something to enjoy in this season of Doctor Who, here and there. But I accept I'm in a dwindling number, and that won't have been helped by something so audience averse, should we say, as the story and the engine last week. Screened as ever on the iPlayer and Disney Plus first, with that drop at 8 a.m. UK time, and then the traditional broadcast on BBC One that night. The stats have continued to come in. We're hitting lower figures than ever, breaking new records in the way that you don't want to break records on a show like Doctor Who. People are simply tuning out, either literally or figuratively, as the love for Doctor Who evaporates. When you're looking at figures that are historically low, it's you could say that you reap what you sow. If you're going to make divisive television that appeals to increasingly fewer people, then of course increasingly fewer people are going to watch it, going to invest in it, going to make time for it. But and accepting too that the nature of the industry has changed, and the way that we watch it has changed. It hasn't changed to this extent. Watching the figures tumble week by week, pretty much, is rather an indignity. I feel, David, you've been keeping track of these figures for us and lining them up, not just the actual overnight figures or the consolidated figures, but lining them up next to other statistics. We're now 2 or 3 weeks on from when we last spoke. How is it going? Because obviously the figure is sort of going down and hitting all-time lows and then bobbing up a little bit, but they are just bobs, aren't they? I've heard people say the other day, for example, that when we got the latest figure, that they'd spiked. But to me, a spike represents a considerable uptick. I don't think that's what's happening at all here. And across 8 weeks, time is precious. There's not many left. So what do you think is the general lay of the land? We're going to look at the actual figures in a moment, but has anything really changed? Is there any cause for optimism at all?
I don't think so, to be fair, and that's not me being having a downer on it. But the thing is, and this is my summary for last week's. It was 29th in the weekly chart when it got beaten by the damn 6 o'clock news 4 nights out of 5, and then the 10 o'clock news. And these are consolidated figures. So the news beat it 5 times. So when you've got Rita Chakravarti and Thomas Schaffernacker doing the news and weather, and that's beating your flagship drama, and it's just somebody at a desk reading an autocue, linking together pieces and getting a special guest in to talk about some international hoo-ha. When you've got BBC News having had loads of cuts to their funding, and you've got that massive spend on their flagship drama that is getting all the money that it is, and it is pulling fewer viewers than 5 different days worth of news, you've got to start asking questions. And I'm surprised that executives at BBC News aren't emailing the drama department going, ha 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 ha, because it is very, very disturbing that the figures are going down. And people are saying, and there's the old recourse which will say, oh, but overnights aren't, people don't watch live TV anymore until they do. And the figures are good. Okay, so people do watch live TV when there is something worth watching. And also because people watch online now, they watch on catch up, they watch on streams. Well, if you have a look at the fact of the Doctor Who streaming figures, they have gone down. Every episode has gone down. It's gone from 1.57 to 1.42 to 1.37, now to 1.29. The lowest streaming figure for this generation of Doctor Who, which we need to keep an eye on for the barbershop and the story Ford Cortina engine, is 1.26 million, and that's what Dot and Bubble got. So if it goes below 1.26 million, we're in uncharted territory. Never before has Doctor Who got below, the consolidated figure has gone below 3 million people. And
let's take a look at the figures as they currently stand in relation to one another here. So when we last spoke, I think we'd had 2 consolidated figures in. I think we now have a total of 4, but we've got the actual statistics there for the first 3 episodes, all lining up with one another. And that was that big drop that I think shocked everybody between episodes 1 and 2. A slight increase for the 3rd week, but nothing to write home about. It's still sitting generally in the same space, and that consolidated figure wasn't really any different. Now we have that figure for Lucky Day, which again, lots of people were talking about this because it hit another all-time low overnight with that 1.51 million. It's not much lower than the figure for Lux, but it's lower. And any lower that we get at this point, the lower the entire figure, the more it sort of gets chipped away at, the more noticeable it is, and the more that it stinks of failure. And when the consolidated figure could only raise up to 2.8 million, David, that's considerably less than the raise of the previous 2 weeks. So it is pointing to a general growing disinterest.
It's pointing to a malaise and apathy, and that's actually worse in a way than people complaining about the fact that, oh, it's shit, it's all this, it's that, it's not worth watching, and there's a bit of discord between people. When people are apathetic about it, and a general malaise develops, and people are going, oh, right, okay, and that is if there was a buzz about it, we would be expecting to see the consolidation figures of catch up either hold their own or have a slight increase. Not a spike, because a spike is inaccurate. It's more of a murmur than a spike. And if the interest was there and people were saying, and as Charlotte has mentioned before, the genuine water cooler moments, oh, you've got to watch Doctor Who. Did you see Doctor Who this week? No, well, you've got to go and watch it on catch up. You would see a very gentle upticking curve. But what you're actually seeing now is it going down the other way. It's going down the other way. It's my
belief, David, that the content of these episodes, because you think, oh, well, this week's been particularly good, so when word gets around, this was a good one, views will go up. I don't think Doctor Who is in that place anymore. No. It's not culturally relevant enough for people to bring it up, whether they enjoyed it or not. The quality of the episodes, I talked about this before the season even started. They blew it at Christmas. That was their last. Yeah. That was their last chance. Anybody who's still willing to make the time in their week to watch this show at all knows whether they're in or not. And that's why it's never really going to change one way or the other. So whilst the figure for the story and the engine, that overnight figure, wasn't the lowest figure of all time, again, this time, it did represent an increase on the previous one. Again, it's nothing to write home about. It's still in the same ballpark, and one would expect, looking at the way this is going, that when that consolidated figure comes in, which will probably be on next Monday, it would probably settle at around the same, somewhere between that 2.8 and 3 at the very, very most. It won't be anything miraculous.
No, and the evening weather had 0.84 million more viewers. Okay. So the evening weather, the news had something like 2.34 million on overnight, which put Doctor Who down to 6th on the day for BBC. Okay, that's your flagship program. You got things like the Hit Parade beating it, which is, I like that program because I love my music. But Pointless Celebrities beat it. When we're talking about Lucky Day, the consolidation, a repeat of the Damn Antiques Roadshow got more viewers than it, and I'm sorry, everybody, but if it was a dog or your beloved pet, you'd be having conversations with the vet about how long you can keep it out of suffering.
This year, I haven't been pursuing the line of thought of where are the AAI figures, Charlotte, the audience appreciation index figure. I just assumed that we weren't going to see them, and sure enough, we're now 4 or 5 weeks in, and none of them have been published at all this time. It's pretty much unprecedented, but there seems to be an air of secrecy around them. I mean, again, when you see them laid out like this, it's consistent, I suppose, but my God, this is a minuscule audience for Doctor Who at present, isn't it?
Yeah, and the big defence for the last couple of years, it's not just been shooty. It happened with Jodie's run as well. Whenever the overnights weren't good, within 2 seconds but people watch it on catch-up. People watch it on consolidated. That was almost like the saving grace when it came to the defending figures. And like David said, when you put the consolidated up like that, the fact that there is that small drop week on week on week, for me, that shows, I agree with you on the whole. I think people have got their mindset about this show, and the general public have lost interest completely. But for me, the fact that there's still that drop in the consolidated, for me says actually, and I didn't think actually there was a lot of room left for this. There's still bits of the fandom, and I'm talking the fans here, not the casuals, not the people who might just watch it on a Saturday because it looks fun this week. Like the core, which is what sort of I've been talking about for a while now, and I just think there's something in these episodes that's still knocking away people, that's still repelling people. And the fact that they can't keep a consistent consolidated. Because the overnights we can sort of guess the range now.
Yes.
Of the overnights, it seems to have settled a bit.
Doctor Who has a brand problem now. It's seen as a calcifying brand that nobody's interested. It's seen as something that has died on the vine, past its sell-by date.
Here's the thing: even if they were never going to get millions and millions of people back, and it was never going to get massive figures back, I think there was a tiny chance that they could at least retain the core viewing audience for this series. They could at least keep that solid enough that whatever they chose to do next, they could build on, and they could use that base to build on whatever next incarnation was going to come along. And the fact that that's now going with your catch up, and I think because there's little things in these episodes, even we've had some improvement, I will agree with you, some elements have been better this series, but for all of that, they have to have characters like Alan in the opening. They have to have little digs at the internet and fans. They have to have really on-the-nose storytelling. They have to have just plot that makes no sense and goes nowhere and makes no sense in universe. So there's still these big issues that we're seeing. And I think that's why your catch-up is dying.
Yeah.
Because people are going, well, even if there's stuff I like, the characters are still stereotypes and no depth, and they're sort of these caricatures. Judy's not working yet for me as the Doctor. Belinda storyline's gone to the wayside. Like there's something in each episode.
I think, Charlotte, gradually, when we look back over the last 7 years, as long as you and I have known one another, basically, and this show has continued to be diminished.
Yes.
It's also crossed the lines of so many people. That point where people would say, like fans, as a fan, people often used to say to me, is there a point at which would you ever stop watching that show? I think, well, if they ever did this, if they ever did that. I think a lot of us have got that, and many people's have been breached years ago, or they've simply screened something that has just made people immediately react and sort of push. They've just found it completely rebarbative and don't want to go back there under any circumstances, Matt.
Yeah.
We've got F's in the chat here who says, lifelong fan, I haven't watched an episode since the one with Jodie where the man was pregnant. And the fact that is the bit that sat in this person's mind over this 7 years. People remember. You know, we say, I remember where I was when the 9/11 or the Kennedy assassination. I remember where I was and what the final straw was that made me stop watching Doctor Who. I think people will always remember the little things like this. And that's had this culminative effect in the way that both David and Charlotte are pointing to, albeit from different perspectives. It all points to the same thing, Matt. There's a malaise and a massive mismanagement, more to the point.
Well, as you know, I skipped out when Jodie Whittaker was announced, and I thought, no, this show's not for me anymore. It's not made for me anymore. And then about midway, when they suddenly the insert Doctor suddenly appeared, I was like, you know what? I'm becoming military now. They've just pissed all over what legacy that was already there. And so, yeah, and I just got more actively involved back into it because I just thought, this is just you're going towards a course that's going to go towards an iceberg. And look what's happened. It's exactly where it deserves to be. And it just doubled down and tripled down and quadrupled down. And we all thought that, RTD was going to be the saving grace, but it's it's just so it's a tragedy. It's just like a Greek tragedy to me. It was at its height, you know. It was just there, you know, and you kind of go, whoa, can it stay up there? And it's just like it just totally nosedived.
Yeah,
and
they've become Matt. They become Icarus, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. They've been burnt too close to the sun. They have.
Matthew Pounder says the Jodie Whittaker Wimbledon reveal was our JFK. Gary, the ratings of Doctor Who, obviously, it's nothing that you can do anything about, you know, on the other side of the Atlantic. Anybody who lives overseas. So when you see these figures, I mean, do you look at them in a very detached way? Are you invested in the success of Doctor Who domestically? Yeah, how does it make you feel? Because it's not something that you can influence in any way, is it?
Well, I mean, obviously, as a lifelong fan of the show, I mean, I'm invested. I guess I'm more invested now in the legacy of the show because I don't think there's no point in being invested in this current iteration. And I don't even think the one thing I just realized that I've, you know, and I'm pretty much out there on, you know, Facebook reading the narratives and, you know, watching obviously like this stream and some others throughout the week to see like what the, you know, what the kind of word of the day is. I have never, even in the most jaded kind of commentator who is, you know, down on this iteration of the show, I have never seen anyone say the show itself, the concept of the show itself is outdated. It's past its time. Nobody is, I've not heard that once where they're basically hitting that the show itself is a relic, a thing of the past. It's no longer working in our present. All of it is about how Chibbs is the showrunner, that his choices, you know, decimated the show, how Disney giving RTD $100 million to, you know, indulge his own grievances. That's what destroyed the show. Everybody seems to realize that the problems with the show are with who's running it and how it's being run. I don't think there's anybody in the world who says the concept of the show is past its sell-by date. That alone gives me hope that when sanity reigns at some point in either you know, the wider world or the BBC, that there will be an interest because the love and the interest in the concept itself hasn't waned, at least from what I can see.
See, to me, the responsibility comes down to a lot to the BBC. And also, talking about the ratings, I don't understand it over there, like how you guys work with your ratings and that. But one of the things that I've learnt while I was, you know, being quite interested in, especially last year, was the audience appreciation score, where they didn't show them, and then when they did pop up, they said, oh yes, we've got a new way of calculating it, and that's the reason why we never. Where are they this time? If they've already sorted that all out, where are they?
Well, they're still trying to find somebody who actually appreciates this season, man.
Yeah, they're trying to find people to watch it to answer the question.
It's like there's no excuses this time. That just goes to show the manipulation behind the scenes for all this.
Behind the scenes, speaking of behind the scenes, Russell is in the live chat and says you're all bigots.
I'm an online warrior, Russell.
He's spitting the dummy there. We're cheeky podcasters, as he described. Cheeky podcasters.
Cheeky podcast. It's a bit well. But it's just as I was hanging at the puff in the shower this evening, after cleaning it. The shower, that is, not the puff. I was just thinking about the fact that what would it take for the ratings to actually spike? And for me, it would be a break, a complete overhaul, and a back to basics style approach, whereby they get out all the messaging, they get out and just try and tell proper stories again.
Look how many people were there when David Tennant returned for the 60th anniversary. We can say what we like about those stories, and we've been over them with a fine-tooth comb. What we enjoyed about them, what we didn't. But the reaction from the viewing public was very clear. Now, it wasn't back up to ridiculously high levels, but it was a noticeable improvement, visible improvement that was immediately diminished once they got a look at the next guy. And that's all you need.
And also, I think they'd have to go back to, and it's something I heard on Five Lives Must Watch, which I listen to every week religiously, about what's coming up. One of the reviewers actually said that a lot of streaming services now for dramas and for comedies are reverting back to 30-minute episodes because that's the fashion. People want to watch things in 30 minutes. And I do think that if we went back to traditional episodic Doctor Who like that, it would stop people trying to cram in too much guff in 45 minutes and not allowing stuff to breathe. I do think that TV is changing again, and Doctor Who hasn't moved with the times for that to express that change in programming, and it is still very much 2005 closed club type writing.
According to information that I've received over the last few days, that we've received at Type 40, that whatever happens next, whenever it happens, and all of that is up in the air, whatever happens and when it happens, the format of Doctor Who, should it continue wherever it continues and however, and whatever partners are involved, what we're seeing at the moment over the next 2 or 3 weeks is going to represent the end of the series as we know it in that established formula and to format. That's according to the information that I've received personally. So we'll be speaking more about that in the coming weeks once I hear a little bit more. But I think the appetite for a change is there. I think a practical necessity is also very, very evident. And would it combat that malaise? I'm not certain. But I think it could do the things that Matt was pointing out. I think it's their best shot at the kind of massive rejuvenation of interest in the show that it needs to make itself feel relevant and alive again. Because right now, it just seems like something that's bleeding out along with the woke that had polluted it in the first place. We've got to move on now, but I wanted to just take a couple of comments here from the Zero Room, who says, I've been watching since 78 here in Canada. It's so sad to watch this show go down the toilet twice now. And Darren Bradley, who says fans care more about the legacy of something than the companies that own it. Then grind it into dust. Then they blame the fans, and all those people that made those decisions will be quietly fired. They're put out to pasture, won't they, Darren? That's how it works.
Also, I'm an old fossil. All right, so I'm not of this generation. I'm not of Charlotte's generation or anything like that. And with this, like, it was aimed for the TikTok generation, and I don't follow TikTok or any of that crap. To me, it's just crap. It's just noise. But this was designed for the TikTok generation. How did that go? How did it go?
It was designed for the social media generation.
Yeah.
Russell made it very clear with some of his statements. That was he boasted about Shooty's Instagram, I think it was, can't remember off my head. That he had so many followers and that he had the Netflix crowd, and it was so obvious that they were going for this young audience. But the problem was the content of the episodes, as David was pointing to, whether that's casting, bringing back certain characters, or the format, they were still stuck in 2005. And I think the problem is we've been in this weird halfway house of, okay, so you're still keeping your 45-minute structure from back in 2005, but we've got less episodes of series. We haven't got 13 anymore, but you're still trying to cram in all the same sort of amount of ideas and story beats and arcs that you would in 13 episodes. you still carried over your Dr. Light tradition for no apparent reason in the second series. That's what I mean. It was like they had their foot in two camps of, well, we have to be different, so let's do 8 episodes and try and make it like a glossy drama, but let's still have the hangovers from before, which I'm not surprised then that you're hearing, Dan. Whatever happens, even they've realised the format needs to change. And I think that would be a very welcome thing when it happens.
And just on the back of what you're saying, Charlotte, sorry, Gary, in answer to your question, Matt, the problem is the fact that the iPlayer or the BBC released figures 16 to 34 and then incrementally in 9 years up to that phase, after that phase, up to 65 plus. This is against all best practice for surveys results, because you normally group them into 9 years, sort of like up to 16, 16 to 25, 25 to 34, add in for, et cetera, et cetera. But the problem is the metric 16 to 34 is so difficult to measure, because you're covering two groups of age ranges that are so diametrically opposed and different that you are unable to see from the figures 16 to 34 what the general makeup ages are those that are watching. It might be 25 to 34 that are actually doing the most of the watching, but if you group it together as 16 to 34, you can muddy the waters and say that the younger people are actually watching, which is a way of actually manipulating the statistics to your own spin, if you see what I'm saying. So it's got more spin than Shane Warne. So it's a ridiculous thing to do. And he's dead, yeah. So it's a way of concocting figures to say, oh, we're 16 to 34, we're doing really well. Well, actually, how is that made up? Is that made up of more 16 to 25-year-olds watching, or more 25 to 34-year-olds watching? We don't know. Well, you do know, but you're not going to release the figures.
If things continue as they are, if they continue to shovel money at this show, Gary, and there are people who think that they should. There are people in the fandom who think that it should just get paid for, produced, almost as some sort of charitable effort of some kind. Like Doctor Who should always be on the TV and will always be on the TV. It's as if for some people who've grown up with it, maybe we were the same in the classic era, the idea that it could be off screen is next. It's an impossibility almost. People can't conceive of it. But how far is it going to dwindle before we might think, that this show, maybe it is in jeopardy? And what's the point? Maybe it deserves at this point to fail in the way that a muscle would fail, and when you do too many reps or whatever. Yeah. How much lower will it need to go before people will accept that there's a problem? We're below 2 million. We're heading to below 1.5 million. What about when we hit double digits or single digits? What if there was one solitary viewer? Would that be a problem? It's think, the TV landscape has changed. No, it's now most shows only have one viewer. It's ridiculous to keep going with something that just doesn't work. And I think it's important to be patient with other fans who simply can't see it. But we're all adults here, and we're all capable of reading basic figures. And some of us, such as you, David, you've worked with statistics. Mm-hmm. You're very adept at reading them, at triangulating them. Sometimes. I'm not enjoying any of this, the failure of this show.
No.
I don't think any of us are. But all we can really do is to spectate and to support one another. And who knows where we'll be in 2 or 3 weeks' time. Maybe it will feel like a relief if this does leave the screen for a little while. I think it's looked worse than it is at the moment, but it still has a multitude of problems, and those figures are kind of heartbreaking, I think, to see. Obviously, there'll be more. Season 2 could start to pick up some pace for the final fences, but the word of mouth thing isn't working this time very, very clearly. The new season continues, of course, this weekend. We're going to leave that there and cheer ourselves up, I think. Oh, sorry, mates. Yeah. So this is the part of the show where we get golden faces and golden voices from Doctor Who's long and distinguished past, far more distinguished past. Some of our legends flogging us all manner of everyday household tat from back in the pre-Amazon days. This is the Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Check it out.
Introducing new recipe Pedigree Chum Complete. Supreme nourishment in a dry dog food to keep your dog in the peak of condition. And now it's even meatier and comes in original beef and tripe and lamb and vegetables. Supreme nourishment with a great meaty taste. Pedigree Chum Complete.
Relive the Doctor's adventures in time and space with the ultimate action figure and MP3 CD collection. Collect and build your own Pandorica CD cube case. Each 5-inch action figure includes an audio CD and a piece of the Pandorica. With 3 classic Doctor Who stories to hear. The Doctor Who Pandorica collection.
From character.
Hello! They've made me Hornby size again to show you how Hornby accessories can really make your layout come to life. What was that? Anyway, Hornby make more accessories than anyone, and lots of them you can work by hand. Let's pull in here. Here we are then. Now, let's have a look at this signal box. You see? Ah, it's him again! You just wait till I'm full size.
You only get them a train set once, so make it Hornby.
Is he still there?
Yeah, look, Ansar. We's infamous. We's on the cover of the TV Times. It's the Titshuman special issue, with lots of news and articles all about their programs, you see, including us, Ansar. And not only that, but they're giving us away, 500 of me and 500 of you, in a free competition.
Talking to yourself again, Wurzel?
Yes, meet them both in this week's TV Times, with full details of the week ahead on ITV.
Well, I'll be bums whistled.
Welcome back to Type 40 Live on Rumble, X, YouTube and Facebook, covering the future, the present and the past of all things Doctor Who, lining up, polishing up and getting ready for a show, whether we like it or not, at the weekend. We'll get through it all together. Of course we will, him and us here on the panel with you in the live chat. That's how it works here at Type 40 Live. So I'm back with the panel. Let's see who's here. And what's on our minds as we head for the final straight? Yes, so we've got Matt Pott here. We've got Gary Akers, resplendent in his TARDIS hat. We've got Charlotte Shields and David Milling too. Have we depressed one another enough yet?
I was just thinking I could easily spend an entire day doing nothing but watching Bernard Cribbins commercials.
Yes. I love him. I love his song Right Said Fred as well. I love singing Right Said Fred.
Big Wurzel Gummidge fans in the live chat, as am I. The world is smaller without John Pertwee, suggests Ian Scales, Matt. I think who wouldn't agree with that? Been gone nearly 30 years now, John Pertwee.
Next year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 96.
Yeah, that news made it over here. It was so big.
Dalek Lives Matter says, now that's a woman. Is he talking about Eunice Stubbs, Aunt Sally? Is that it?
Yeah,
probably.
She was lovely, Aunt Sally.
Typical woman.
You know, Pertwee's been gone 30 years, but his episodes are still #1 on Amazon.
Yeah.
He'd love that, wouldn't he? He'd love that.
Yep.
Stephen Braddock says, to everyone, this group is therapy for me.
That's right.
There you go. Yes, so we've got more to talk about, and I wish I could say it was good news.
Oh, boy.
The time is here, and he is coming. Yeah, this is Ryland Clark, Matt, with Shooty Gatwa and Verada Sato there. You probably don't know who Ryland Clark is, but I bet you're sick of the sight of him already. Imagine how we Brits feel after 12, 13, 14 years, I don't know. Doctor.
I don't know. I've just got this sense at the moment that I should watch this episode because I know it's going to be so tragically awful.
You should absolutely watch it.
I just want to get my popcorn out and just watch and just see how bad it can be, especially with the person writing it. Oh my god.
So season 2 continues. I do sincerely wish they'd have got this out of the way a long time ago. We're approaching the finishing line. It's the same drill as ever with this one. Like we said earlier on, you got that 8 a.m. drop there on Disney Plus and the iPlayer, with a BBC One showing later on in the day. But that may not actually happen this time because of how they've managed to sandwich the show between 2 major live events. The BBC have started to talk about that a little now. I think we've started to see it turn up on social media. They accept there's some sort of ambiguity in the scheduling of Doctor Who, that it might not appear on BBC One at all, which there's plenty of BBC One viewers who, let's face it, they're not going to give a shit, are they? They're going to be quite happy. They're going to be quite happy with that. But for the dwindling Doctor Who audience on the night, the Radio Times has put out the news today, advance warning that this week's episode of Doctor Who might not air on BBC One on Saturday if the FA Cup final, that's the football, goes into extra time. But don't worry, you'll still be able to watch on the iPlayer from 8 a.m. This seems to me to be the equivalent of sort of throwing in the towel this week.
It's not even like, we're going to have a late night showing. There's none of that. No. It's like, that's just, that is really, really telling.
Well, Russell himself said it was more exciting not to know whether the show was going to air or not. So,
well, what's also interesting is that traditionally, when Doctor Who goes on after a football match, it happened last year with 73 yards, and then this year they got an uplift. I can't remember which episode it was because it was after a football match. Like, that traditionally really helps them in the overnight viewers.
Yeah, it was the well.
Because, like, pubs, for example, will play the football match and they might not switch over in time. So technically Doctor Who plays there. And that's a lot of viewers you could gain without actually getting viewers. It's just a good number.
Can I just come in there, Charlotte? There's a big, huge myth with that. Pubs aren't included in Barb's ratings.
Oh, are they not?
No. It's a 5,000.
I thought they were.
It's a 5,000 panel of homes. They are still trying to figure out how to adapt ratings for when pubs actually watch it, as to how many people watch it in pubs, but they're not actually included in the figures.
Well, I suppose you could have the same effect clearly of people just not turning off. That's sort of the main thing. Then it's not the pub. I thought maybe that. So that's my point. They're sacrificing possibly having a better overnight if they don't put it on.
Russell's going to be running around the field during the FA Cup trying to make sure it ends on time.
He's going to be a streaker.
He'll be mobilizing his celebrity army on Instagram, won't he, to sort of step up to the plate. There they'll be, tweeting and hashtagging and all that kind of thing. Okay. Yes, so get your strap your tin hat on, everybody. It's going to get ugly.
Looks like Dad's army.
This is the Interstellar Song Contest. The synopsis says the Doctor's quest to get Belinda back home to Earth leads to a space station hosting the famous song contest. But a harmless night of fun soon becomes a battle to survive. The writer of this one is Juno Dawson, a 43-year-old English author of young adult fiction and non-fiction, it says here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dawson's notable works, again, doing a lot of heavy lifting there, include Margot and Me, The Gender Games, Meat Market, Mind Your Head, oh my God, and the extremely controversial book, This Book is Gay. I'm not the biggest fan of this person. I've been very frank and open about that. The works that Dawson has published over the years are incredibly problematic. I consider them beyond the pale, to tell you the truth. And the fact that this person is allowed anywhere near official Doctor Who, I believe, is a great cause for concern on an editorial level. They are a proven liar, and as such, this, coupled with tethering the series to the Eurovision Song Contest, has meant that this is a very rare occurrence where I have no objectivity left towards this episode whatsoever. I am highly prejudiced against it by my own admission. It's a unique experience for me. I make no apologies for it either. The way that Dawson conducts herself on social media is excruciating.
Well, I call her a him anyway, because that's what he is.
Well,
I know you're being polite,
again, I'm not,
Dan, but
I'm not being polite.
It's a he.
Is this a picture from the actual episode?
Okay, look, I don't have an issue with transgenderism. I have an issue with dickheads. And in my view, this person is a massive gaslighting dickhead. Again, people, I don't object to how people want to live their lives. That's not the issue. The issue is the publishing of those materials and the association of a character like this with a family brand such as Doctor Who. Dawson has acted in Holby City and something called I May Destroy You a few years ago. If you've ever seen any of her social media videos, excuse making and lies, you'll see the acting continues to this day. I've zero interest in anything this person has to say. All right. Anyone got a more generous take?
Well, my big issue is more, I looked at their actual CV, the equivalent of what they've done actually in television, and there's hardly any TV experience there.
No.
It's a lot of books, it's a lot of one-off, like they've done quite a few like audio things they've written, but not a lot of TV. And last week's episode showed if you're not very well versed in TV writing, if you're usually used to other formats, you can't just switch and become a TV writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be an issue when it comes to this episode, that we've got somebody who's not got a lot of experience, that basic things like your plot, like your structure, like your characters.
To be fair, Charlotte, a bit experience in switch hitting, but not of that kind. Yeah. So
that's my issue. There's not a lot of experience to make me qualify for you to get a slot, because there's only been about, is it 3 guests? No, was it 4 guest writers this series? Trying to count them now. We had Pete,
4.
we had Sharma, we had
4.
Yeah,
yes,
4.
So you would think there's not a lot of spots there, and you could have get a lot. There's a lot of other up and coming writers, or even just more to go to my point, experienced hands in the television industry. Especially, and another thing which I didn't quite realise until I was thinking about this. This is your episode leading up to your finale. This isn't like a mid-series episode. This isn't like near the beginning. This needs to somehow set up the 2-parter. So that's actually quite a lot of heavy lifting to do. Mm-hmm. Not an easy thing to do. And they're giving it to somebody with hardly any TV experience.
Eurovision night for the BBC, to be fair to them, is a big night. It does very well on BBC One. It does have an audience. There are people who do like it, it's only fair to say. And it did used to be a genuine event that the whole family could enjoy together and invest in. I believe it's not suit for families to watch together now. I certainly wouldn't watch this with my children, even if I was being generous, David, and was willing to sit through the god awful music. It's excessive, and again leans into that kind of what they call queer culture, I suppose. The queer community owns the Eurovision Song Contest that I can see. And again, I don't begrudge any communities or groups having their own cultures, events, and things that they enjoy and they share together. But all of this.
Sorry, I was just clearing my throat. I do beg your pardon.
Oh, okay. But I just feel that this is all too fucking much. All of it is too much. Eurovision is not.
Oh, sorry,
sorry,
go ahead.
Sorry, Gary.
No.
No, you carry on. I probably said enough.
No. I was just going to say that I can't seriously believe that Russell thought that hiring this person would increase the profile of either the show or the episode in a positive way, because the publicity that I've seen on the show has all centered about Eurovision, and they haven't played up. Maybe I'm wrong, as far as I can see, they haven't been playing up the fact that this person's the one who's doing the writing of it. So I'm not sure what was to be gained other than, once again, Russell indulging his own personal preferences, to hire this person to do the writing, because there's nothing to capitalize on.
For me, it's something like what Charlotte said. Okay, if I want to get somebody to put a boiler in, I'm going to go to a gas safe engineer and a very reputable plumber. If I want somebody to rewire my house, I'm going to go to an experienced electrician. If I want somebody to fix my car, I'm going to an experienced mechanic. If I want somebody to write something for television and for my show and for the show that I'm in charge of, I want somebody who's a proven screenwriter, somebody like Anthony Horowitz, Steve Kloves. I wouldn't turn to J.K. Rowling because she's an author, and when she wrote one of the screenplays for the
Fantastic Beasts movies.
The Fantastic Beasts. It was clunky as hell, and it was like having a novel on screen. So if the most successful authors, I mean, Agatha Christie didn't write TV scripts. She wrote plays and she wrote novels. So if there's something you're very good at, stick to, and you've never done something else, do not employ that person to write something that they have no experience of doing, because it is like asking a child to run before they can walk. It is impossible. There has to be so many good screenwriters out there who work on soaps, who work on EastEnders, for example, who work on Casualty, who work on Death in Paradise, who work on all these great dramas that pull in all these things. But Russell is so blindsided by his select group of people and his closed shop that he is putting people with that he knows will cause controversy in the hope that he can generate the show in his vision, when actually it should be generated in the vision that is best for the show, not the person who is currently sitting in the chair.
Well, look, all of this, in my opinion, was inevitable when you give somebody a vault load of money and no oversight.
Yeah.
This was inevitable.
Yeah. Absolutely. If you give somebody a free rein where nobody will say no to them, you're just asking for trouble, and it's irrespective of who that person is. If they are not grounded, and if they are not living in the world that the vast majority of people are living in, you're going to get an agenda. And I don't actually think that this is the way that TV are going. It should be going. You either get people in who are experienced writers, and they don't have to be a Doctor Who fan. Robert Holmes wasn't a Doctor Who fan. Mark Holt wasn't a Doctor Who fan. Terence Dix wasn't a Doctor Who fan. But they were all very experienced writers in their field who did the legwork in continuing dramas and Crossroads and on the ATV days.
If I'm being objective, David, there's always been in the TV industry a kind of jobs for the boys mentality.
Yeah.
An old boy stroke girl network.
Totally.
You're connected to people you know, people you may have trained under, learnt from, may have been a mentor, or people who you view as are your wards, in effect, in the industry, your students, your apprentices. Maybe Russell T Davies does act as a mentor for several young budding writers, which I think is a good thing. Generally, it's a good thing that people do that in any line of work. Here, though, his relationship with Dawson, they've known one another for some time. Dawson was involved in an external Doctor Who thing, a god-awful podcast. I mean, it's called Doctor Who Redacted. It was meant to be drama, insipid nonsense aimed at a minority of people. Yeah. Unlistenable shite. But he clearly felt that there was talent worth bringing through. But I think there is an element of wanting to give a writer from a minority group a leg up, a box-ticking element, a shameless box-ticking element. There is no way Juno Dawson would have got a job writing on this show on the strength of Doctor Who Redacted. Admittedly, I haven't read the books, and I'm never going to. Let's put it that way. What I've seen, the few pages I've seen, that's enough. On the strength of Doctor Who Redacted, there's no way this individual, however they identify, whatever their whatever, would have got a gig writing anything else had they not been part of that group, which not only is Russell T Davies seemingly obsessed with, but the BBC are absolutely obsessed with showcasing on every show at every time on any given frigging channel. It's nauseating, it's ridiculous, and the public don't want it.
You know what the most ironic thing is? This episode is, according to Russell and according to the other bloke, this is the most expensive episode ever created. And it's probably not going to be freaking shown on BBC. It's going to be put to streaming. What?
When people say stuff like that, I just hear the kind of the klaxon going off, because I remember how Amazon, Charlotte, they made the most expensive TV show of all time, The Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings show. I mean, apparently it has turned itself around now, but it was an absolute categorical disaster. And so when you boast about that sort of stuff, my God, you're setting yourself up for a fall.
Sauron's so hot.
The problem is that sort of my surrounding issue from the beginning, when I saw the trailers for this Eurovision episode, when we started to get announcements for who was cameoing in it or guest starring in it, when I started to like the money thing they were boasting about, and now I've seen some promotional stuff this week. This is the best example I can think of having a production team that only cares about putting on screen what they like, who they want to support, what they think is in right now. They're not thinking about the wider public. They're definitely not thinking about fans. The fact that we've got Sea Devils looking absolutely ridiculous and being, I think, actually that to me that spits on the classic because of how you're showing them in the promotional anyway. We'll see what it's like in the episode.
Lipsticks and glitter, isn't it?
Not far off.
Is that true? Because somebody was told me earlier today that there are Sea Devils dancing in this.
Well, I've seen a promotional picture.
Well, that sets up the spin-off, I guess.
Here's how I'll explain the picture I saw, because I do need to go then. It looks like a crowd shot of like the audience for the Eurovision thing, and you've got Sea Devils with paint all over their face, dancing along in the crowd. That's what it looked like to me. Like I said, I haven't seen it in the episode.
They're not aliens.
The dance off between the land and the sea.
But it's that's my point. This episode reeks, the way they're talking about it, the way they're showing it off, that Russell just had this little pet idea that he really wanted to do. He got a writer that already was a fan of Eurovision and fan of sort of that whole world you were talking about. And it's really expansive fan fiction. That's how I describe this episode from the promotion.
And see, Charlotte, that to me is exactly why the minute all of those months ago, maybe even or a year ago, the minute Russell started crowing about no one says no to me, somebody should have come in and said, okay, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the other
Charlotte.
thing is, so we'll finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will finish with this. Right now, we talked about this with the ratings. This show has got the worst image it's ever had. I would argue it's worse than the 80s, because at least then the fans are starting to see actually an improvement in the writing. They were starting to see possibly a direction that they were sort of taking to with the Cartmel master plan and the way they were doing the Doctor with Sylvester. Right now, this show's seen as this sort of preaching, on the nose, message of the week type of show. That's the image. And this episode is going to do nothing but solidify all the worst takes, all the worst fan feeling right now. And it's going to, and if people are just like surfing, like channel hopping, they're going to go, what's that? Why is there dancing aliens and cat people and Rylan? Like, is that Doctor Who now? It's gonna damage the image, and that's what I find the most sort of disgusting, and that's why I stopped sent the message I did to David. But on that lovely note, I do need to go.
See you Saturday.
Good night. Good night, Charlotte.
Thanks for Peak Dick, Van Dyke.
Oh, at least I made you guys laugh at the beginning, so I'm happy.
Don't have nightmares, as they used to say in Crime Watch. Please sleep easily, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Good night, Charlotte. Bye-bye.
Good night.
I want to see a duet between Shooty and a Sea Devil of My Heart Will Go On.
I think it's time. I think it's time we took a look.
It's like, are there going to be Silurians in this too? They're not even aliens.
Well, let's have a peek. Let's have a peek at the trailer now, Matt, and see if we can spot anyone or anything else. The good times keep on coming, Matt. Part, you'll thank me for this one day.
I've done well at avoiding this.
Rylan Clark.
Where's the Valium?
Of talent from across the universe. Live to an audience of 3 trillion at the Interstellar Song Contest.
Oh, we're so staying.
We're staying.
Oh, she doesn't want to go home anymore. Okay.
She's probably going to get, take me home. Oh, we're staying.
Bit of glitter. And a chick there looks like she comes from the same planet
I
as
didn't see any sea
the
devils
creature from
in
the
there.
Dalek Master Plan.
Yes, she did.
Mission
Yeah,
to the Unknown.
This is going to have
no,
to be. This is going to have to be a 5-hour reaction show, Dan.
Yeah.
She's got a skin condition, has she?
Can I say
I'm just wondering. Should she really be on the stage?
Can I put out a phrase for the what could be the possible thumbnail headline for Saturday? Can I make a suggestion now?
It's already done.
It's just it was a Doctor Who related one. There should have been another way.
Dan probably had the thumbnail done about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just interested to know how they're going to put in Graham Norton and that in a space show, for God's sake.
Oh God!
I mean, as if things couldn't be any worse. I mean, it was bad enough when they announced Juno Dawson. You think, oh, fuck. But I half expected
probably
that
got
to
him
tell you the
singing in it
truth.
too.
But yeah, I mean, let's look at this arsehole first. If we're talking about dickheads, this guy has got to be one of the biggest in Britain. You guys overseas won't be.
I thought we've already had David Tennant on. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. So this fella is this is Rylan Clark. If you live overseas, you won't know. As well. Yeah, he's a 36-year-old guy, English
like
broadcaster. stroke TV personality. That's what he calls himself anyway. And yet he's still in between appearing on millions of shows.
Sorry, Dan,
time to
didn't he
argue
become
with
famous
me
on Big Brother?
on X. Well, I'll get to that in a moment if you let me speak.
Oh, yep, sorry.
You're quite right. He did come to prominence as a contestant on the 9th series of The X Factor in 2012. If you're wondering, Matt, this was as bad as it looks. It was.
You can see all the fillers not there yet. All in his face. You can see the difference now. Wow.
It's kind of like the Scrappy Doo version of the Bee Gees, isn't he?
Oh, bite your tongue that you would even bring the Bee Gees into this.
He failed on the X Factor. He was knocked out for being shit, unsurprisingly. The next year, though, he did appear on Celebrity Big Brother, which he did win that. I don't watch that. I've never watched that, so I can't speak as to how he come. But he must have come across okay, I suppose, because he has managed to fashion himself a career off the back of it. Now, 10 years on, the guy is never off screen. Whether he's sat on the sofa next to that's Josie Gibson, is it another Big Brother graduate, Matt? I mean, these people, you think, I haven't heard any of these people. You're not, both of them.
We only had like one major star from Big Brother come out, really. Well, she's on radio because she wasn't really.
Well, most of our entertainment, whether they win the shows or not, Matt, now, all these years on, 25 years Big Brother's been going in Britain, most of our entertainment shows are staffed by former Big Brother contestants, Alison Hammond included. And they're on these sofas and fronting everything. Most of the time, they're fronted by Brian Clark. So he's on ITV1 as the occasional host of This Morning, but he's also all over everything on the BBC, hosting spin-offs from Strictly Come Dancing, as well as everything else.
He's had his teeth done.
You reckon?
Oh my God, he's had some work done. There you go. I'm struck by that. Oh my God.
Wow. In all seriousness, I try.
I feel sorry for you guys having to put up with this.
I can't stand this guy, and he's behaved again. Another one. He's got the time to have a pop at fans on X. I mean, there he was, sort of staking out the Doctor Who official social medias. I voiced my dissatisfaction with his involvement in the show. He took the time to come and tell me why I was wrong and why I was a terrible person, and he got some back as well. He's a little more than a clown, a very well-paid clown. I accept that he must have his fans. It's fine. But why, again, have we got... Why is this show populated by dickheads? Why can't we have had an actor playing a host? And maybe he could have lampooned him in some way. Maybe it belongs to that same tradition of Anne Robinson being involved in Series 1 20 years ago. Maybe I'm being mean-spirited here. But again...
But that was a robot, Dan.
That's very true.
Anne Robinson was a robot.
Okay.
And I don't think this will age very well. Do you think so? Because when I look back at like the John Pertwee era or the Tom Baker era, it's not like the goodies where there was like cameos from reporters and all that sort of thing, Now I cannot see it aging very well in another. Well, I don't think anyone will watch these in another 20
years.
But
in all seriousness, Dan, do you think that what all of this is about Russell being able to say that he created his own version of Eurovision?
I think it's Dawson. I think it's all Dawson. Wish fulfillment. This is probably going to be their only chance to write for Doctor Who. It's a miracle that somebody's employed them in the first place. Dawson is being encouraged to just take the lid off everything and do whatever they want. They've clearly been showered with a budget. I don't know where it's gone looking at that. Apart from a couple of nice effects shots, Matt, compositions of things, it still looks a bit shit.
I don't understand TV production, but I always thought budgets were quite restrained, even though they are expensive. It's like they've just... It's like, oh, that's a really super expensive thing. It's must be a fantastic script, Dan. That's the thing.
It's almost as if they're trying to compensate for employing employing a person with the reputation that Juno Dawson has. Again, I'll leave that up to your imaginations to work out whether you think that's likely or not. Lip gloss Lee Devils, says Matthew Pounder, filling him with fear. I can't say I blame him.
I'm actually living for the day, and I'm being honest, I'm actually living for the day when Disney announces they're doing an audit of where their $100 million went.
Yeah.
My goodness me. I mean, I can, coming back on what you said, Matt, about it being memorable and everything like this. And another thing, I often have thoughts when I'm cleaning the shower, because it is quite a long and laborious process to do it properly. I actually thought today, another thing, was that I can actually see this being remembered on one of those goddamn awful clip shows that are shown at 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday morning when TV goes horribly wrong, and this being shown as getting some Z-list celebrities and Danny Baker talking about, do you remember when Doctor Who did this? Wasn't it a bit crap? And I think this, it really risks making a mockery, not just now, but for future generations, to be labelled as a bit, as not a bit shit, but embarrassingly shit for people to look back and just
it's already an embarrassment.
Oh,
I've been embarrassed by this for like 3 years now.
Yeah, sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to.
When they've had this, when they started reporting on all the pronouns and everything that was in the show, and that people were laughing because they were like going, we've had intersex characters in this before. And the journalists are literally laughing at them because they're just like, you're talking about aliens.
Yeah.
Crap. And it is a joke. It's an embarrassment. A lot of people don't go around saying, I'm a Doctor Who fan, I'm a Doctor Who fan. They just don't do that anymore. Whereas there was a time where we were like, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and they go, I'm a Doctor Who fan too. Doesn't happen anymore. And this sort of crap, and the people that they're getting to write this junk and sick junk at that, it's just it's just so wrong, and I just think of the days of when it was when it was good and when people were actually able to enjoy this, Now I honestly think that a lot of the people that will be watching this episode are going to be hate watching it, if at all, if they watch it at all, because I think we're going to lose a lot of people as well during this.
You don't think the Graham Norton fans could turn up, Matt? Both of them.
Yeah. I don't think much of that bloke. So
I think Graham Norton will turn out to be Mrs. Flood.
He's the grandfather.
He's going to regenerate,
Dr.
isn't
Poppy. Yeah, he's the granddad of Dr. Poppy. You've heard it here first.
I have wondered, could the other viewers of the song contest, the other attendees, include the gods of Ragnarok, for example? Wonder whether that would amuse them, or do we just not want any more Doctor Who icons from the past brought into this?
I want
EUROVIsion.
I want a Merca ballet. I want like a lot of Merca dancing around the stage, kind of like in an interpretive dance.
With the giant rat from
I'm guessing there's no juggling in Eurovision. Or playing the spoons.
There is. There's all that sort of stuff going on whilst the singing's going on. So you wouldn't believe if you never watched it. There's all kinds of stuff. They wrestle snakes and all sorts of things.
I've also heard that this is an episode where Shooty gets his most angry he's ever got. So that's bound to be at the Fox guy, because he's meant to be a posh rich boy. Terrorist thing, it's going to be he's going to be giving him another lecture. So
if he's straight, we know he's white. If he's straight and identifies as male, you can bet he's the wrong one. Okay, so
I'm just curious, really quickly, Dan, has there been a lot of Is there like a lot of like saturation promotion going on over there this week for
Not at all.
Eurovision? Really?
Oh, for Eurovision?
Yeah, no, for Eurovision.
Actually, the Eurovision stuff seems a bit muted compared to usual. Now you've said that, but it's still pretty high profile.
Okay.
You do, yeah. I wouldn't say everybody's talking about it, but it does have a certain profile. People do have watch parties. Some people who are really into it and watch it because they genuinely love it. Other people watch it and get tanked up and bet on who's going to come bottom, who they think is the worst act. And as you can imagine, there's some pretty stiff competition for that. So
I just wonder who this is designed for this episode, and that's why I'm interested in actually seeing this episode. Because if people are going to be, I'm just saying, like, if like, to me, I can't stand Eurovision anyway, but for people that would watch Eurovision, would they watch this episode just because it's got Eurovision in it? That's what I'm interested in to know.
No. I think that you get. Maybe some Eurovision fans actually may think it's all part of the lark. I don't know. I think they're more likely to spend more time in the pub. I don't think even, I don't think they'll be interested. My sweet baby James says in the live chat, the reason no one tells you they're fans is because you guys are toxic. Or in caps as well, James.
The reason no one tells you
I've
they're
got a fucking Doctor Who t-shirt on. Goodness me.
As if it's the first time we've heard
I have every collection. I have every collection set over in my bookcase over there. I'm not a toxic fan.
I've got Room Doctors in my cabinet.
I'm looking at my bookshelf, and do you know the old $9.99 Hatchwork Doctor Who books that came out?
Gentlemen, we don't have to. None of us need to prove anything. James, thank you for your comment. You're entitled to your opinion. If you'd imagine that's the first time we've fielded bullshit like that, then you're deluded, my friend. But you're welcome to stay.
Don't cry like a baby, James.
Comment along. Ideally, let's get to the adult remarks, though. Now, you're entitled to your opinion the same as any other, but calling us names, we're not going to take that any seriously, are we? Okay, what else have we got? Yeah, lots of comments along similar lines. But yeah, I mean, this is made for Juno Dawson, Russell T Davies, and their mates. Nobody else, realistically. We've got a preview of this from Russell T Davies, again from the Radio Times a few weeks ago, and he's very excitable. Gary, this may not come as a great surprise to you, but he says, this is the one, the Interstellar Song Contest. This is the one. Rylan in bold. Songs, lizards, 12 points. You probably think you've got the measure of this episode. That's what the Doctor and Belinda think as the TARDIS bounces them to the Harmony Arena. God, that sounds dirty. It's deep in outer space for the song contest. It's written by we know it's written by the best-selling fantasy novelist. Yeah, okay. Russell says, I recommend you stay offline all day. But the only way you'll be able to see it is online at this rate. Stay offline all day if you want the raw experience. Don't tell us about your raw experience.
Russell, stop saying raw.
If you want the raw experience of this on a Saturday, and I have got no generosity towards this episode whatsoever, and they've taken me here. This isn't in my nature at all. I resent this episode of it. I resent this arsehole that they've employed to write this thing, and I resent the fact that it's being put on in this show attached to Doctor Who at all. God, this boils my piss, because if there's anything that's bound to tank the show's reputation further, it's this bullshit. Russell finishes off with, because this story takes much bigger swings than any of you. God, who copy reads for the fucking Radio Times? The Radio Times used to have standards. Check this shit out. Okay, because this story, you see, I'm wound up. Because this story takes much bigger swings than any of you are expecting. It's darker, wilder, and tougher than the title would suggest. And this is the really worrying part, everybody. The world of Doctor Who will never be the same again. What the fuck are they going to do this time? Any ideas?
He said it's like Eurovision meets Die Hard, so fuck knows.
I think he's read too many the promos for too many like Marvel Comics events where like the Marvel universe will never be the same ever again, and then like 2 months from now it is exactly the same as again. I'm just curious if the Radio Times. I'm just curious whether if the Radio Times is going to be publishing another full-page explanation of what the episode was actually about, like they did for this last one.
Yeah.
This should fill everybody with dread. I mean, the hyperbole, I can take a lot of that with a pinch of salt, to tell you the truth. It winds some of us up. It really does make Simon Horton grind his teeth, and I get that. I can laugh all of that off. But when somebody like Russell T Davies in 2025 tells me the world of Doctor Who will never be the same again, I worry. What the hell? This is the man who brought us by regeneration, for crying out loud. What the fuck is he going to do this time? Yeah, okay. I think we've suffered enough, haven't we?
Wasn't there like initial promotion that the plot of this was like Die Hard?
Yeah.
Didn't I read that somewhere?
Yeah,
it's
he
like
did say
I have yet to see any elements of Die Hard in these scenes.
Yes, this is the man who also says that what's her name? Yasmin Finney is a huge star. So, read into that what you will.
Another man in a dress.
Like a collapsed one that sort of sucks in everything around it.
They're still excited. He's still excited, it seems. Maybe we'll get some more of this story arc that's meant to exist. I don't know. Maybe Belinda will get a little bit closer home. I'm starting to envy her. Really hard to say. This is the next episode of season 2 of All New Doctor Who. It's definitely dropping at 8 a.m. on the BBC iPlayer, simultaneously with Disney Plus globally, wherever you are, at whatever time you're used to getting it. Whether it actually is on BBC One later that evening at the planned time of 7 p.m. remains to be seen. Let us know what you think. Obviously, this has been kind of therapeutic. But the simple fact of the matter is it's not the main event. There's still 48 hours to come until that. At the end of the day, wherever you lay a turd like this, it's going to stink. Nothing is going to change that. I think the best that we can hope is that by this time next week, we can still form a cognitive sort of sentence and make it through the rest of the season. Thank you for your comments, guys.
Now, I suggest you start watching Type 40 because I can't. I've got to watch this little blighter. The job through. I'll have less of that from you. Thank you very much. Know your place.
Know your place.
Look, if I have to run up a flight of stairs, you come and find me.
I'll be in the lift.
That's going to the bottom of the floor then. Keep watching Type 40. There's good chaps.
Never mind Eurovision, we're flying the flag for the talent, dedication and creativity in the Doctor Who fandom here, as always, because it's second to none. There's never any shortage of pretty pictures to distract us from our duller everyday lives as we scroll through image after image to feast on fabulous Doctor Who fan art. And at Type 40 Live, we've always done what we can to encourage and showcase Doctor Who fan art and fan artists in our virtual gallery, mainly so we can fill up these bloody awful walls full of grey roundels that don't stimulate anything apart from your bowels, really. Now I think we've all seen enough of this. So if we plaster it with fabulous fan art, traditional or digital art, cosplay or crafting, all of it counts. Let's fill up the walls with great Doctor Who art. Unsurprisingly, whilst there's new episodes on, a lot of the artwork is focused on those new episodes, and this crop is no exception. There's this one focused on the story in the engine, the episode from last week, written by Anua Ellams, and the artist Joe Cook has come at the subject with a very kind of, I'd call this kind of an urban look to it. This is daubed with paint. I think to give a sort of canvas effect, he's dropped that giant spider. He sort of shrank it down and put it atop Shooty's Bonce there. It's running around playing havoc with his afro, and there's images of all those men who disappeared there from the barbershop in the background, the newspaper print and things missing this, that, and the other. So yeah, this really stood out to me. There's a lot of composite images of floating heads and things like that, which I do get tired of. I think this is quite a creative effort from Joe. He's a fan artist. I always enjoy seeing what he's done. It's often very, very inventive. Gary, is this your style? Would you whack a canvas like this up on your wall?
I mean, I do like some of the elements, like the weird shape of the buildings is interesting. I like the the newspaper cuttings. I actually think this would have been a more enjoyable episode had this actually been in it, where the spider was actually attached to the top of Shooty's head. That would have been
good point, actually.
I love the art. I think it's amazing. Shame the program wasn't as good as the artwork.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if you're watching the same. The fact that it managed to inspire Joe to create this, Dave, it does make me think, well, maybe he saw something that I didn't. But I'm certainly not going to watch it again to find out. But I do think Joe is a great artist. Let's see what comments have we got on this one so far. That's very good. So Richard Brooks liked this. Crimpling Doubloon says that's scarier than the actual episode. Lance Uppercut says that's a spider eating what's left of its brain.
Well,
Arachnid Afro says Fly Highland. Nits says Darren Bradley, Matt. So yeah, it sucks. Says Ezra. What, the spider sucks or the artwork sucks? Let us know. Tom, unsurprisingly, is a fan of the spider on his head, and Matthew Pounder says it's better than the episode. I completely agree. So there's that really caught my eye. But then again, so did this. This has got a real epic feel, Matt. I mentioned earlier on the Rings of Power series, the Lord of the Rings thing, all those kind of big dramas. That's what this reminds me of. It gives it an epic feel, which the episode definitely didn't have. The spiders web there forms a pattern behind the Doctor. He's even managed to get Belinda in there. She's not in the episode much at all, and the various supporting characters sort of scattered around. But I really like the colours with this. It has a sort of richness which I think does line up with the aspects of the episode that were visually interesting, even if it didn't really go anywhere worth going.
It reminds me of a kid's poster, like a clocks in the walls, those sort of posters, you know. It looks like that sort of matinee movie sort of thing.
This is the work of Sarabi, a fan artist I've not come across before, David. But we do like to bring through new people rather than just showing the same artists.
Yeah, and I really like it. It adds. The thing is that there are so many skillful artists that do these, and it's such a shame that their source material that they're taking it from is not worthy of their wonderful artwork, because I think again that artwork speaks volumes about if it was available in a shop on a DVD like that, you'd think, oh, I'll give this a watch. This looks fantastic. And then you put it in there, then you put it on, and you just go, right, okay, the artwork's still fantastic, but what I'm watching is not living up to the artwork. And absolutely, the image is better than the entire episode. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I love it.
It'd make a great target book cover, according to Farsight, who's watching on YouTube. Gary, and this is somewhat better, says Ezra Goldstein. Says more a fan of this one. Yes, we do like to look at 2 or 3 of these. Again, I'm not sure which one I personally prefer. That's why I thought I'd bring both through. Whether I prefer Sarabi's sort of epic movie poster or the rather more artistic and sort of canvas print style that Joe Cook has gone to for this. It reminds me of a flyer, the choice of fonts as well. I really like that. So I can't quite decide. But at least it's not all the same old.
I'm always fascinated by, what particular images spark these artists to come up with these compositions. Because I mean, I'm certain that every element of this was like a conscious choice in terms of what direction they're looking. Or in the other one, like the spider on top. And I'm always fascinated by what they see in the episode that kind of, clicks the tumblers in their brain to come up with these compositions.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? You can always go and ask Joe Cook over on Instagram or X. You can see more of his work as well. He's over there. There's a whole timeline full of various things, and he also shows his process to how he brings a lot of the elements together. So works in progress and things like that. So yeah, go and follow Joe over on X and tell him that Type 40 sent you. As for Sarabi, I haven't managed to track this person down, but I'll certainly be keeping an eye out for their work in future. I really like this one. It did stand out, and even the lettering is quite effective as well. Obviously, the barber seemed to use scissors, clippers, more than scissors in the actual episode, but it works with the scissors. It absolutely works.
I do like how the finger holes of the clippers frame the spider at the bottom.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's nice, Matt.
Oh no, I was just wondering, am I of the understanding that because I didn't see the episode, there was no white people in this at all? Or Asian or anything like that?
Mrs. Flood was in it.
Right, okay. She was actually there in Africa, was she?
No, she was in a flashback, but they had to wedge her. They had to wedge her into the story somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think there was anybody that was Caucasian in the episode, with the exception of Anita Dobson for that split. Oh, and the little old lady
and the grandma.
Belinda saved. Yeah. But it was set in Nigeria, to be fair. But so there we are. Sarabi and Joe Cook, fabulous fan art there. And to finish off, we've got this one also inspired by the story and the engine. This really did make me laugh from
Brilliant.
Red-chested bird. Their cartoon, their cutie version of Shooty there with the cross eyes, holding his sonic thing.
I thought that was a shoe.
Is that a cheek ring? He's got a ring in his cheek?
I don't know what. I wondered about that. I
think that's a cheek ring.
No, he's crying.
He's crying.
It's
a tear. It's a tear.
Gosh, the program, Gary. It looks very South Park, doesn't it?
Yes.
It looks very
South
absolutely.
Park. Yeah,
is that one of London Beat in the background?
You will respect my authority.
And he's holding his tennis shoe again.
Yeah. It's London Beat, I'm sure.
Daniel is a fan. He clearly in the live chat. Lance Uppercut also says looks like a South Park piss take of the Doctor. Doctor Who's South Park is the best one. So Stephen Braddock, he likes this. Sid the sexist says Daryl, just like
put
Daryl.
a woman in and make it gay.
Sid the sexist.
See it now.
That's really reference there from master artist illustrator Daryl Joyce. 15th Doctor, always a crybaby, says Tom from T-Dwarf Productions. Lots of people, spotted the tier before we did, including Crimpling Doubloon, Richard Brooks, and Rob Alexander. A nice hat, says Tomgo.
Red-chested bird. Where were you? I want to know where red-chested bird was during the I forget the name of it, the Lex episode, because I would have actually liked to see Shooty turn into this cartoon rather than the cartoon that he turned into.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. Fly Highland clearly likes it. So does Rob Alexander. It's hilarious.
I can't believe you put that up, Dan.
Funky is in the live chat too. Screw you guys. I'm going to Nigeria. Hey, Funky. Okay, mate.
I'm off the catfish.
Okay, so yes, let us know which one of those is your favourite. I think the red-chested bird may well be this week's winner with that fabulous take on everybody's favourite 15th Doctor.
Keep them coming, red-chested bird. Please keep them coming. Red-chested bird, please do one for the Eurovision episode.
I'm sure that's either London Beat or Dr. Alban in the background.
The gauntlet is thrown down. And we're going to throw the gauntlet as well to you in the live chat because we need more fan art to fill up those big, horrible, grey walls. So get it to us by the usual methods there. Reach out to us through our social media. That's on Instagram and X at Type40 Doctor Who there, or join us in the Type40 Facebook group as ever. Not just full of fabulous fan art and fan artists, but lots of discussions too, as well as our review thread. Fred? Who's Fred? Review thread. Review Fred. He's our new review correspondent. Review thread for each and every edition of this season of Doctor Who. So get stuck in. Go and pick a fight over in the Type40 Facebook group. Or you can send in some feedback through the wonders of SpeakPipe. Any questions, messages, predictions, any feedback of any kind, record us a message over on SpeakPipe and be part of the show, the podcast, or the live stream there through the wonders of SpeakPipe. Okay, it's nearly here. The Interstellar Song Contest is coming in just a couple of days' time, which means that Type40 Live will also be back with another instant reaction to another all-new adventure. Adventure. My God. Okay, so if you want to catch up on where we've been so far with these are our literal instant reactions to watching those episodes after their broadcast on BBC One. These are recent additions. Obviously, there are 3 more left if we make it through with our marbles. If not... If not, our Maltesers intact. My God. Feeding time at the zoo, everybody. Okay. So check out the playlist for more new Who instant reactions and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next and when it's coming, because we're heading back to the mics and the webcams in just 48 hours as it all continues. Gentlemen, thank you all for your company this
See, if Charlotte was still here, Matt would have apologized, but she's not, so he's not going to.
Honestly, I thought I muted it. I actually hit mute, and then
in the spirit of Eurovision, Matt, I award that
really
one
did, honestly. Cross
12
my heart.
points. 12 points from the Birmingham jury for your belch. American jury, what have you got to say? How many points would you award Matthew there for his belch?
Boy, I mean, that for Dolby Atmos sound, I'd give it a 10. I mean, that was pretty
respectable. Good. And David there, what would you award it out of the... I think we better move on. Yes, as ever, thank you to Charlotte Shields for all of her input and wisdom, and she'll be back in a couple of days' time as well. My God, we've had some great comments here in the live chat. Thank you,
that was
everybody.
For Crybaby James.
10 out of 10 in the chat, Matt.
It's pickups. You got some high scores, mate. Go big or go home.
I'm right on the Richter.
10 out of 10 from
I
from
like
Stephen
Phillips. Phillips comment.
Philip, who's Philip? Where are you,
Philip
Phil?
Roy.
Philip Roy. Where?
I said that's Matt letting
Lord Farf.
That's Matt letting out regeneration energy from Philip Roy.
Oh dear. Oh yes, it's been a. I was going to say it's been a blast, but it has quite literally been a blast. We'll be back with more of the hottest of takes as we're processing the Interstellar Song Contest on the next edition of the show directly after. Will it broadcast? Who knows? But we'll be here as ever from 8 p.m. Saturday. A few regulars and some specially invited guests from YouTube and podcasting, as always. Guys, thank you for your company. Matt, as our real life time traveler, obviously you've got the inside skinny on Friday. How's it looking so far? And are you tempted to come back to the show to see this episode that we've given so much airtime to?
I'll tell you what. If people want me to do this, to watch this episode, I will. I will also send you my bank account details so that you can put in the money for. But yeah, no, I honestly think this is the death knell for Doctor Who. So clearly, I'd love to I really do, and I think it may be. I'm totally detached from this series, so I probably could watch it and not feel anything anyway. So yeah. So let me know if you guys want me to watch it. I'll watch it.
Thanks, Matt. David,
and sorry for the burp. I had it on mute. I honestly, I'm gonna double check because
if that was on mute, I'd hate to hear it.
I had it on mute. I'll make sure.
Matt, I thought you stepped on a frog.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, we can hear you, pal. Listen,
it doesn't work. My button doesn't work. I've got to fix it.
Seriously, the last time I heard something like that, I looked out the window and there was a geese in overalls dragging a manhole cover across the concrete. Anyway, that's it for this one. We'll be back.
I gotta fix that button.
I think I'm going to need your support more than ever come Saturday, Gary. Thank you so much as ever. Heaven knows what you'll be wearing on your hat.
Oh, I already have my ensemble all picked out for Saturday.
If that's not worth sticking around for, I don't know what is. We always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, it'll be blasting back. Maybe we'll throw in another burp or two. We're blasting back in a couple of days' time. Hang on in there. We're nearly at the final fence. Bye-bye.